Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, welcome to episode 146. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for joining us. Speaking of joining us, Brian, we're starting a little tradition like none other on the Power Hour. So every year, we basically like to decide, hey, we should go over some of the best games from the year before, but as we've mentioned before, we don't have the time to dip our toes into most of these games. But we do have an ace up our sleeve. So, making his third appearance on the Power Hour, making him the highest numbered returning guest. I could have thought about that intro a little better.
Highest is not the correct word, but...
Yeah.
Most frequent.
Most appearances. Good old our buddy Dan. You know him as Bladeblur. Bud, how you doing?
How's it going, guys? I mean... I'm just still caught up with Highness, so maybe you want to call me Your Highness from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Highness Sir Laliano?
My liege.
Jim, I knew where Jim's head was at. I mean, he doesn't word so well. And
Right. It kind of works up here, and something works down here, but then in between, it doesn't really work right. So, that's what
Yeah.
happens.
I like that my three appearances, like, there was some kind of a pattern, and now it kind of, like, and it was 55, 99, and then 146. It's like, the digits don't match anymore, and this one, it's like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, that kind of doing it weekly, missed one here and there. Yeah, numbers don't matter. It doesn't matter.
yeah. No, but Blade, and obviously, before we go any further, first, let everyone know where can they find you and what do you want to promote before we hop into anything.
And
don't put your OnlyFans.
That's just fair.
I was top 5 in men this week, though. But the best way to find me right now is my Twitter at Bladeblur. That'll be the place where I pretty much do the most things. I need to be more consistent on my Instagram, and I only really use my Instagram just for like video game collection pictures. So it's like, ooh, I got this game. I'll take a picture of it so everyone can see that I got it, and that's really it. I mean, I also have a YouTube channel, but I haven't uploaded to it since I did my top 10 games of last year, which is funny. I need to do the same thing again this year, which is kind of what we're doing here today is kind of discussing some of that stuff.
We're your dry run. We can think of it that way.
You're welcome.
I would like to call it a dry spell because I'm made of pure magic.
Yo, you're the expert. You're the one that always knows games from past year, like Jim said, so we definitely rely on you. But before we hop into that, Chambers, I did see you sipping on something. So what you got in your can or glass tonight?
I am drinking the Casey's Iron Horse Oatmeal Stout. Comes to us from the Rum Spring Brewing Company out of Manheim, Pennsylvania. So black chocolate and caramel malts give this ale its deep, dark color and robust flavor. Additional flaked oats and a smooth, sweet flavor.
Mannheim?
Mannheim, yep.
Where's that at?
Beats the fuck out of me. It's probably closer to Pittsburgh.
Oatmeal stouts are always good, so I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's a perfectly fine oatmeal stout. Very smooth tasting, but it's not exactly special. But if you like oatmeal stouts, you enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of not special, since I still haven't quite gotten my taste back yet. No, you're the most specialist. You're the highest specialist, Blade.
Yeah.
I still haven't quite gotten my taste back since I'm, fine now from COVID, but no taste, no smell. I figured why not get rid of all the junk beer, so I still have a bunch of these Corona Lights. Don't know how old they are. And yeah, I figure I'll just drink along because my throat's not hurting me, but I can't taste it, so.
You realize the irony behind that, right? I mean, I'm just saying.
That I can't taste it, I'm drinking
Corona Light.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, so.
I was like, immediately when you said, I was like.
There you go.
Yeah.
Brian's actually turned to taste buds, and he ruins it again.
So yeah, this is.
That's like if you get like Mike's Omicron lemonade.
Yeah.
That's a genius idea.
Now, what you sipping on tonight, Blade?
I'm getting water. I'm boring. Don't worry about me at this point. I mean, this is the third time I'm saying that.
Well, let me ask you this. I know you're not a big beer drinker. I know you're not a big drinker at all. But can you tell us what was the last beer you did have?
I think, funny enough, that was a Red Bull that I got at too many games, and I just kind of sipped it a little bit, and that was the extent of that.
I think
well,
Dan
here's the
went
thing.
sober after seeing my drunk ass and dealing
Yeah,
with me.
that's
He
the
was another-
point,
He was another
like-
victim of my shenanigans at that too many games.
I mean, I
I was
was...
gonna say, well, when you saw Jim, how bad was he?
let's put it this way, because I wasn't in that podcast when you had both Dan and Petey over, but essentially I was the chaperone in this whole situation because I'm the only sober one in the group. And the funniest part is, to me, is that the only thing I remember from that night is the fact I remember, like, Jim had to go, and that was the last time I had to see him, obviously, because I don't go to the East Coast all that often. So I see him, and he's like, I was like, hey, man, I'll see you next time, take care. And he's like, give me a hug. And I'm like,
That's a Jim. That, you know what? Those sounds are so Jim too. That's
I
all
thought
these little puzzle pieces keep getting put together from other people and from people doing interviews with me when I'm blackout drunk, and all the little pieces coming together.
it's like a
That'd be quite a
Rashomon, but the Jim version of Rashomon, basically.
I choose to live in that world where it just says scene missing, and I wake up in another spot and scene missing. So that's my
Yeah, it's like a silent movie, and then you hear, like, the piano going.
Exactly.
yeah. I'm sad I couldn't have been there. I would have loved to help chaperone Jim and see you there too, but we got next year. I was actually curious. Was there any plans initially? I know you, like you said, you don't come to the East Coast that much.
Yeah.
But do you ever come to MagFest? It seems like a lot of people weren't really going this year.
Well, obviously this year,
Yeah.
I mean, I know I was talking about Omicron earlier, but now there's a new COVID scare, and I think because of that, a lot of people decided not to go to MagFest this year. TMG in 2022 is supposed to happen again in late June, and I really hope the situation, in not even just like Philly, but in the world in general, will get better by that point. So we'll see what happens. As for MagFest by itself, I mean, I don't know much about the controversy around MagFest personally, but everyone that went there said it was a great experience. I'm not too much of a big gathering kind of guy. That's kind of why I like TMG, because it's a bit closer, and if I have to go through, like, different booths and stuff, I like the fact I can actually move my arms and not, be afraid that I'm touching a person by mistake.
I gotcha.
Because I went to, like, bigger cons before, like in California, obviously. Like, a good example is, like, Comic-Con. I went there for a couple of years, and
Never.
if I have to go to Comic-Con again, maybe I'll do it like under like an industry badge. I don't have to worry so much about like lines and stuff like that. But never as a regular attendee. Like, I'm done with that bull dookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. Like I said, I mean, MagFest, I know it was a lot of people were wondering, was it going to happen? Was it responsible? But like, I think Jim, you even mentioned like a lot of the vendors probably, it was a little too late for them to pull out. So
Yeah.
it almost had to happen.
Yeah, but like Dan said, like from everyone who went, they said like it definitely had a different vibe, but it was a good time. So hey,
That's good.
hope everyone stayed nice and healthy and enjoyed themselves. Sad we couldn't go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to go one day in general. Like that, and like PAX East is usually the one I keep hearing all the time that people really enjoy. So it'll be nice to go to either.
That's the one in D.C., right?
That's the West one. The East one is in Boston.
Is it? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know how far it is from you guys, honestly.
It's actually not that terribly far. Yeah, Boston's drivable.
Oh, cool.
But, no, yeah, definitely next year. Can't wait. Meet up with you. And, god damn it, you're going to drink some beer with us.
Only if I get to play a game in addition to that.
That's right.
That can
And
be
speaking of games, since you weren't able to answer beer, I know you're going to be able to answer this. What you been playing for the past couple weeks?
Oh, God, this is like a very loaded question, because I've been doing a lot of catch-up recently. Boy, you know what?
Well, then what's your main squeeze?
You guys, but that's besides my point.
That's after we hang up.
More like after we hang out. But anyways,
Well,
You son of a bitch.
I mean, he just feeds me in, and I just regurgitate it back. Anyways, that's what she
I'll feed you
said.
something.
Anyway,
Damn it, Jim.
Honestly, I've been doing a lot of catch up with a lot of stuff. I would say like the main game that I've been like I finally finished it for the first time ever in my life, and I kind of beat myself for not doing it earlier. Is the original Psychonauts, because man, that game is such a amazing marvel of like storytelling, game design, graphics, like script. Everything is so amazing about it. I will say, though, do not play it on the PS5 or, like, any PlayStation version, because it's a really bad port. And I only did it because... I only did it because of trophies, because, unfortunately, I'm insane when it comes to my trophy score. And that's something I need to, like, tone down. I mean, I could have played on the original Xbox on the Series X, and I would have had a much better time. The PS2 version just... frame rate goes down to like single digits sometimes. The graphics are very unpolished. There's also like audio glitches that sometimes like a character, gonna move their mouth, but the audio doesn't actually come out. And it happened like really like a couple of times that it was so bad that I actually had to turn off my entire PlayStation and reboot it to fix that audio issue. So it's a really bad port, but it goes to show that I can play a really bad port and still
enjoy the game.
Absolutely, yeah, and I cannot wait, because everyone keeps saying... Because the thing about Psychonauts, and I'll say this objectively, the gameplay is probably its worst aspect, which is kind of weird because it's a video game, but it's only because everything else about it is, like, extremely high quality. So, a lot of people say about the sequel, which I haven't played much yet, so I don't want to judge it, like, unfairly yet, that the gameplay finally, like, caught up also to all of the other aspects, so I'm really excited to, like, really delve more into it.
Yeah. Well, you just completely convinced Jim to not play the first game. If you care more about the story, then he's not going to be into it.
Here's the thing. It's not a story that's hard to follow, though.
Yeah.
But the Switch owner in me here is, enjoying a bad port of a game, and that's all we fucking do, so.
Well, yeah.
Well, but
you waste your money on double copies of the terrible ports of that, so.
I mean, if you really want to play it on the Xbox. It's backwards compatible on the original Xbox. You mean the original version on the Xbox is backwards compatible on the Series X and Xbox One, and on Steam is also really cheap, and it'll play much better. This is a game that should not be missed. I'm not even that big of a story guy. I'm more of a gameplay guy. I kind of like, I grab a controller, and I don't want to hear, like, a tutorial that goes for, like, 5 hours, and then at the end of it, it's like, press X to jump, and I'm like, I know! Move the on! But, with Psychonauts, the story is actually really funny and entertaining, that I don't care that it takes a little bit of time for the gameplay to start. In fact, I want sometimes the gameplay portion to over just to see how the story unfolds.
Yeah.
And you have the main character, he's voiced by freaking Invader Zim. I mean, that's already pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a series I'm right there with you. I never actually beat, and it's another series where I'm like, I'd love to try it out. I hear only great things about it, but you're the first one to say about the PlayStation. I never heard that before, so that's good to know.
I just found out when I was playing, and I was playing on the PS5 too, so I thought to myself, maybe that's gonna polish some of the frame rate stuff. Maybe it's a leftover issue from the PS4, but no, it really doesn't clean it. So
weird.
Yeah,
I know I'm weird, but that's the fun part.
Anything else you've been playing around with?
I mean, recently I also started Guardians of the Galaxy, which was also a nice surprise. We'll get to that game also in there, too. A bunch of Pokemon, because I'm a poor addict, unfortunately.
Are you still doing your damn shiny hunts?
Nah. God, this is like Bladeblur circa 2017. I mean, I think that one just died in a ditch or something. Like, it was fun at the time. It's just at this point, I kind of outgrew it. If I do,
you didn't like sitting in a bush for 4 hours trying to get one specific Pokemon.
When you say bush and it's you, I'm thinking of something completely different, and it's my fault on that. So.
Oh no, you're not finding anything in there.
Damn it, Jim!
That's what she said.
Unfortunately, my poor wife.
It gets, it can get annoying and boring after a while. So if I do it nowadays, I do it by myself. But even then, it's like, kind of a tedious act. And there are other games I want to play, so.
Yeah. I mean, that game, man, fucking that thing fell off so hard for how popular it was. I've never seen something be that popular and fall off as fast as that did. So.
Well, he's just talking about regular Pokemon games too, not just Pokemon Go.
No, I'm not even going. I'm referring to the Diamond and Pearl remake, actually, to be more specific, actually. Which is probably like the most controversial Pokemon game in a while, since just a lot of people don't like the port, and I think it's not a great remake of those games. But Pokemon is kind of like potato chips, like. Yeah, they're not good for you. They're not the most delicious meals you can order, but it's comfort food. Yeah, it's like it's whatever.
It's old faithful. It's always there.
Yeah,
and there's a billion of them.
Just like the amount of Pokemon themselves. Yeah,
true. Except for the new ones when they took them all out.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jim. Now, what about you, Jamers? What Oh, by the way, Blade. Before we move on, because I'm sure Jim will start hitting on it, but.
Yes, I like Star Fox 64.
I know you, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right. Talk to Dad.
And it's only because there's like a sniper, like a red dot on my face if I don't say it.
Say it.
You definitely, and I think you'll exceed us by magnitudes, but Jim and I started doing something this year. We're doing the level 50 club, so we're going to try to beat 50 games this year. It should be easy enough, and actually, based on where I'm at already, I think it's going to be really easy. But you got to join us, and you got to tag along. Let us know what games you've actually completed this year, even if you started them last year. So if you just beat Psychonauts within January, that counts. But I want to start seeing you, because I know you could probably be level 100, to be honest. And you can count games you've beaten previously.
Yeah.
So, if you're just replaying a Pokemon, or in Jim's case, Streets of Rage 2, and you beat it, that counts.
Yeah, so where you guys are at so far in the challenge?
1.
I'm at 6.
well, here's the thing. Like, you can have that one... You can have that one game as a 40-hour game compared to 6 games are like 2 hours each. So.
No, and my 6... So my first game was Made of Skier, and my second and third game were both Arcade Aliens games, which are going to be tied to a review I'm doing soon. So they're very short, obviously.
Right.
I might as well just jump into it now for games I've been playing. I decided to finally purchase and beat Cockhead, which is obviously the spoof of Cuphead.
I did hear it right. I thought you said Cuphead.
No, you heard Cockhead.
But...
So here's the deal. I want to warn everyone out there.
There's a cock in it.
Damn it, yes. That's all it is. And it's a ridiculous game. I got it on sale for like $1 or $2 or something on Steam. I think it usually doesn't go more than $7 or $10. Here's the deal. I think Cuphead is probably my favorite platformer in the past 10 years. And I was like, oh, you're emulating...
Cockhead's the new champ?
No. I was like, you're emulating one of the best games. And they try to. But really quickly, there's issues left and right. The music gets really boring. The enemies make no sense. There's a few haha moments. And Jim, you'd probably laugh way harder than you should at some of it. But there are glitches out the ass. And I like finally got to some points where like I'm on a boss battle. And for some reason, he's not dying. And then I back out. And when you go to level select, the next level's automatically available. So I was like, okay. So it was a really weird game, a glitchy, buggy fucking mess. Not even for a joke. I'm just saying don't buy that game. It's not even worth it. So, yeah, I beat that. It didn't take me very long. Then I moved on to, have you ever heard of Heaven Dust?
Sounds familiar, actually, yeah.
So,
I might have.
it was an indie developed game, but it was heavily inspired by Resident Evil, and it's basically Resident Evil done in a not quite an isometric, but like a 3D top down, but like kind of at an angle view.
Sure.
And it's Resident Evil in that style, kind of more cutesy. There are zombies, there are monsters, but it's mostly just a puzzle game.
Oh, we'll get to Resident Evil later for sure.
Yeah. It took me 2.5 hours to beat. So, like I said, the games I'm beating, they're not terribly long so
Sure.
far. Because Jim and I also have a whole list of, like, we must beat. Now, that list is filled with, like, 40-hour games. So I got, like, Bloodborne on there, God of War.
That's actually a good idea. I need to make a list. That way I can look at it and see, like, what do I need to actually beat?
Yeah, because that's what we wanted to commit. We wanted to say, hey, everyone has, New Year's resolutions that I'm going to do this. We said, here's 10 games we got to beat this year that we've been putting off for one reason or another. So those are, we have the big ones. So I'm just been able to knock out. Like GTA 5 is on my list. That's my big game I've been playing through. So that's in the background for my games. But what about you, Chambers?
Well, I finally beat Zelda 2. So finally trudged my way through that. Had to bitch out and look because I didn't have a manual. So I got the one part. It's basically for those who've played it, like finding the hidden village. And I spent 3 hours scoping every last goddamn pixel of the area it was in. I knew where it was at. I was in the right spot, but I didn't know that the hammer could cut down shrubs. And that you need to do that to expose the fucking village.
Well,
so,
duh.
Yeah, duh. So, playing it on the Game & Watch, I didn't have a manual. And instead of, like, looking up a manual for a hint, I just looked up a walkthrough to see what the hell I was supposed to do. So, disappointed myself with that. But I didn't look up anything else. So, like, I finally got through that friggin' nightmare. I cheaped out with Dark Link. I didn't care anymore. But just sat in the corner and just, stab. Finished that the fuck off. So, happy to be done that. I still like it better than Zelda 1, and just my new that's right. Just happened.
You just shocked Blade.
That just happened.
I don't have any stake in the game. I haven't played either of them, honestly.
Yeah, you know what? People say it's cryptic, and it is a little bit like any Zelda game, but it's way less than the original Legend of Zelda. So I'm playing the original now as like my new poop break game kind of deal, but.
I think the original game, it's actually really revolutionary for its time for how open-ended it is. Like, I'm really shocked of how well...
Oh, completely.
I mean, like, how ahead of its time it is, but yet, when I played, it's like, what the heck do I do next? Like, I get stuck all the time, so...
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not to say the game is bad, it's just compared to, back in the day where... I mean, obviously now we have more, advanced, more sophisticated games... But I'm saying more in a sense, that when you buy the game, you also get, like, the map, and you can, like, draw on it, and, like, do stuff like that. And, yeah, you can also get it from your computer or your phone, but it's like, it's not the same, I guess,
Yeah, like, I beat it on an emulator 12 years ago. But, like, I used to walk through that, so I'm like, let's see what I remember and see if I can get through it without looking up anything.
I think if you play Zelda 1 with a walkthrough, I think you're fine. I don't think people are going to be like, give me your gamer card.
Oh, I don't give a shit anyway. So. But yeah, so I moved on from one hard game with Zelda 2, and now I'm playing through Blasphemous, which has been like the one that's really sucked me in. So it's a really, really well done Metroidvania, and it's really, really tough. So if you like a Metroidvania, but you want like a very deliberate combat engine, like you're not swashbuckling like you are when you're Alucard. Like you got to be fucking careful in this game, or you're gonna die a lot like I am. So. But it's really good, so I'm enjoying it.
Jim, for your calm down game, will you do the lawnmower simulator?
Maybe I will, Brian. Maybe I will.
It's on Xbox Game Pass.
it's only if Shower with Your Dad simulator is not on Steam anymore. If that's not good, then I'll do the lawnmower one.
So Blade. So yeah, as you can see, there's different approaches, but you gotta join it. Do you think you could easily get through 50 games?
Here's the thing. When I started doing more streams last year, that was basically kind of like my goal for myself to essentially chip away at some of my backlog that I've collected over the years. But it's not more so like to say, like, I have all those games I have to play, but it's more Man, there's a lot of classic stuff that I've never had a chance to play in my life, and when you reach, the dreaded 3 zeros of your life,
With the mids.
yeah, and you just want to catch up, and that's kind of what I did in 2021. I just had a chance to play a bunch of things. For example, when Ratchet and Clank for the PS5 came out, I actually got to play all the Ratchet games for like the PS3 era onward that I never had a chance to play, and that was an experience. I think the biggest one is probably Metroid, because I have played the first Prime game and the second one, but that was kind of like my extent of my Metroid experience. And when Dread was announced, I mean, obviously I saw why people are excited, but I really wanted to see what was the big, hoopla about the franchise. So I started from Zero Mission, and I went through, I played the 3DS remake from a few years back. Super Metroid, finally, which, again, I cannot believe they made that game in 1994. It's like...
I know.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Just like with Zelda, like for the NES, like how did they manage to create such like, an open-ended world with like so many like different ways to reach things? It's just and Fusion finally got to beat that. And yeah, it's something that I need to do more, and I just kind of have to figure out like what's should be on my docket. I think Link to the Past is probably the biggest one. And I would
That's
say
on
from
mine too. I got to do that.
A Link to the Past, I think, came out 20 years ago. No, not 20 years ago. 30 years ago, yeah. So it's like the anniversary. I mean, might as well, for its birthday, play it, so. Is like on my top 10 to do, But yeah, actually, that's a good idea. Maybe I should make like a list, maybe, and figure it out from there, like, how should I tackle this?
As you're playing through it, though, and you beat your games, just tag us, hashtag it, and we're trying to get everyone we know. Go to level 50 club.
Yeah, I mean, especially if things are, not ideal in the world right now, I think gaming is a really nice safe haven that can help us all through this, and I think that's a great initiative to have, a bunch of people, like, participate. So yeah, I'm down. I mean, I'm down to do it. I'm not down like my mood is down.
I got you. But so far, we've already had some folks kind of jumping on the bandwagon. A lot of them are awesome patrons. So, Jim, I did see we got a lot of good questions in this week. So, what do we got?
Patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. First up, from Game Whisperer Dean. Okay, so he actually, I know what he's talking about here. He linked a story, and basically out in the UK, they started using VR headsets and technology for, like, dementia patients, like really elderly people, to, like, try and help, like, spark old memories, give old kind of stuff. So they had a story about a 105-year-old wearing a headset, and it reminded her of when she was, like, helping out a special needs child back in, like, Romania or some crap like that. So,
oh, wow.
So his question is, what beer should they pair for 105-year-old VR gamers? I'll link the story below, too.
That's my expertise, so I should probably answer that.
105-year-old. You know what? Give her, I think it's the Sam Adams. It's called like Europa or Euphoria. I can't remember which one. It's the highest alcohol one. You're 105. You've done it all. Give her the best, highest price beer, free of charge, and let her enjoy it. And you know what? Like, because at that point, what you can't go light beer. Like, what the fuck's the point at that point? So go balls deep, go all in. Give her the best beer out there. That would be my say. It's Europa or Euphoria, whatever it is. I think it's pretty damn expensive, but like I said, it's I think Sam Adams or some other brewery makes it, but give her that.
Yeah. I mean, you either go that route or you go something that would have been around when they were younger. So you got to look up an old Bohemian, like a.
Well, in Romania, you're not going to find anything. So yeah, you could go with one of the best Belgian or German beers. A lot of those breweries.
Yeah, some old douchey Schlafenblufen or whatever the hell it's called over there.
Yeah, you could do that if it reminds her of that time. Because shit, 105 years.
Or just give her meth. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Damn it, Jim!
Let her taste a rainbow. Let her experience everying.
God damn it.
That's what I'm going to do if I hit 105. Shit.
What if the meth is inside the beer?
Oh.
Ooh.
That's a great question. No, I just want to more look into that because that's pretty damn cool.
Wait.
Sometimes you see good use of technology. Not all for porn, Jim.
Meth beer.
I also call that. Wait, what?
Meth beer. Mere.
Damn.
Ooh.
Or do you call it breaking beer? See what I did there? It's like Breaking Bad, but with beer. Jim, you like that show.
We need a soundboard. We need a soundboard for like a car crash sound effect.
I don't.
You'll use it on me more, but I need to savor these moments when I can use it on you.
I'm thinking of Streets of Rage the moment you said that. Actually, with broken
Damn
bottles.
it.
All right, that'll be the next Patreon purchase, a Steam Deck, so we can have a soundboard.
And
just hit a
Jim,
button that says blah blah the whole time.
well, Jim, it's gonna be that, and then when you come on screen, it's gonna be bum, 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 bum.
Damn it!
If you want to do soundboard, I'm down for soundboard, Jim.
Honestly, I've been using like a Stream Deck for about a year now, and I personally enjoy it. And one of my favorite things to do, like when I stream, is if I die because of something, I play like a random no clip, like from like any kind of like cartoon or a video game or whatever. One of my favorite ones is from one of those like episodes from that Donkey Kong cartoon show from like '94.
Oh my god!
And there's like a point where like a song is about to start, and it goes like da, 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 and then Donkey Kong just says no, and then it just ends right there. Like I think a song is gonna start, and he just goes no.
Damn it, Donkey Kong.
Donkey
Don't get me
Kong.
started.
Oh, that's
I might need that file from you.
Oh, you know what? No, I do want to. Actually, I will start and I'll finish it quickly. I did also play the country games for the first time last year too.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, 1, 2, and 3, which is funny because I heard 3 is like the worst one, but I enjoyed 3 the most, which is also kind of weird. And I will say this: I played 64 for the first time last year as well, Donkey Kong 64,
Oh,
and I have to agree with you guys. I don't
Yeah.
want to play it again.
No, not at
thank
all.
you.
There's no desire to finish that game.
I did
And
all the characters. I get to the 4th world, but I'm good. I've done my load of
You
it.
did enough. Yep.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, is it a
Collected
terrible?
enough bananas.
You spent 40 hours to get 20% of the game done, and went really?
Yeah. I mean, is it a good game for the time? Yeah, sure, but
No.
it aged. It aged. I can't.
No, it was bad then too.
Yeah.
It was masturbatory collectathon bullshit.
And people just say, I like the rap. No, you don't like the rap.
I
Shut
like
up.
the rap.
You would, but you have bad taste.
I mean, you can like the melee version of the rap, which is even weirder than the DK64
Oh, you're right
one.
too. Forgot about that.
Like each verse is like a different like music style. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that is bizarre. I forgot about that.
Like there's one point when like I don't even remember like which character they're talking about, but it's like Louis Armstrong like, finally this Kong is here and he is going to drink some beer. I don't know.
We're gonna have to commission Dan to do some Louis Armstrong
Yeah.
impressions and stuff. That'll be the soundboard right there.
Oh
It's
my
gonna get
God.
its own page.
Can you imagine
Yep.
the karaoke at there? And I have to go, and I think to myself, what a wonderful Jim.
See, this is why we have to get you drunk when we're at too many games. Like,
Exactly.
We also saw the video of Dan singing karaoke, so we got to get Dan up there too.
Let me give you like a preview of what it's like to have me being drunk.
So you're like Jim?
Yeah, that's basically me.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Just probably less embarrassing. So there you go. Next time from Michael
Maybe a
Soto.
bit more dignified, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, more than negative. Ooh, what a low bar. What a
I'm at a -1. Yeah.
still better than me. Next up from Michael Soto. Favorite Star Wars video game? For me, it's hard to pick between Fallen Order and the original Battlefront 2. They have a lot of good choices and a lot of mediocre games as well. Curious to see what tops your list.
Blade, we'll let you go first.
Fine. I'll dive in. You know, I think this year I mean, when I say this year, I mean 2021. But I think this is the year I realized that I was kind of Star Wars out at this point. Like, it just doesn't excite me anymore. Is it?
This long?
I think it happened at 2019 originally with Rise of Skywalker, because I really didn't like that movie. And this is coming from someone who will defend Last Jedi, but I'm not going to defend Rise of Skywalker. That being said, I did enjoy Jedi Fallen Order, for being like, a Souls-esque, game. But if I really have to think about like my actual favorite one, I mean, Fallen Order would be in my top 3, I would say for sure. But if I have to pick my one, I'm probably gonna go like Rogue Leader for the GameCube.
Good pick.
Yeah, I just think like even for the time, like it still looks amazing today. And this game is from 2001, and it's just bonkers how well it aged from like a graphical perspective. And even today, the gameplay is fun. And if you get Rebel Strike, the sequel, it's not as good as Rogue Leader, but you have the entire Rogue Leader co-op on Rebel Strike. Again, I'm not a big Star Wars guy. I only watched all the movies like 15 years ago, so I'm not, one of, the hardcore
Super
people.
on top of
Yeah,
it, yeah.
so I'm kind of casual into Star Wars at best. I didn't even see like The Mandalorian and stuff like that, so... but I'll still go Rogue Leader. I think that Factor 5 did a really good job with those 2 games. I mean, I didn't play the N64 one, but I played the 2 GameCube ones, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my
Nice.
choice.
What about you, Chambers?
I'm touring here. Original Battlefront 2 is definitely up there. The original Rogue Squadron's my favorite, just because that's the one I put the most time into.
Fair.
And you know what? Because I was a PS2 kid, I didn't have a GameCube until way later. I played the living fuck out of Jedi Starfighter. I love this Starfighter games, and like they're kind of forgotten at this point because they are just essentially like Rogue Squadron clones. But I thought they were really well done, and like Rogue Jedi Starfighter was like so cinematic at the time too. Like their little CGI cutscenes like seemed like stuff that could have come right from a movie. And just the way it expanded on the gameplay formula from 1. So I think I might have to go Jedi Starfighter. I just always really loved that one.
So it's funny, we're talking about Star Wars, and this is a series like, forgetting the new shit. Like, I always loved the movies. I don't know why I never got more into the games, but as we're talking, like, there's a lot of games I really, like, I want to try the Old Republic. Like, I know that's, or Knights of the Old Republic. I know that's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
And, the games I have played, so the game I played the most as a kid was Star Wars Dark Forces.
Classic.
Okay, yeah.
And that, like, as a kid who, we had a PC, but, like, that Duke Nukem and Doom were, like, the only PC games I had. And I remember we had, like, a jet fighter style, like, joystick that I used to play, and I used to love the shit out of that game. So I have the most time with that. Battlefront 2, I put maybe, like, a few hours in, and I loved it, but for whatever reason, fell off. I actually am one of the people who enjoy the new Battlefront games. They look amazing, and for what they are, they're pretty fun. Like, put aside the grindiness and some of the other issues, like, I had a lot of fun with it.
But do you prefer the DICE ones or the Pandemic ones from like a decade before?
No. I prefer the older ones.
My Pandemic.
Yeah.
I just realized
But
their
the
name
new
is
ones are
Pandemic.
good, too. Yeah.
Their name is Pandemic, and look where we're at right now. I just aged this video. Yeah!
But another game, and like I said, I can already tell from what I'm going to be adding to my list is at least 5 or 6 Star Wars games. But a game that I got many hours into that I never finished was Force Unleashed. Like, I really liked the combat and the style in that game. I only played the first one for a little bit, and I had fun with it. I was like, oh, you can be a bad guy Jedi, or a Sith or whatever. Like, I was like, that's what every kid secretly always wanted to be. Nobody wanted to be friggin' Luke. Well, maybe Luke. No one wanted to be Han. But, like, you wanted the powers.
Cool
and all.
I was about to say, Han is
Shut
usually
up.
the one everyone wants to be. Yeah.
No, because he's just a guy that shoots. Like,
Yeah.
every kid
He's
wants
got the
the
cool
power.
ship. He gets the girl.
Jim,
got a
Everyone
big
wanted
dog
to
friend.
be.
Well,
Yeah.
Jim, I mean, growing up getting girls wasn't an issue for some of us. I'm just saying, like,
Everyone-
me and Blade know that.
I mean,
I'm just
everyone
saying.
that I know wanted to be Jar Jar.
Well, Jim is Jar Jar.
All right,
I
fair.
am kind of Jar Jar-esque.
I'm
Especially when the
saying,
booze starts flowing.
tell me at some point in your life, and don't act like you don't even to this point, when you walk in front of automatic doors, you don't kind of put your hand out like you're a Jedi. You know you did it. Every
Oh, of course.
kid wanted to have some Jedi powers and add in, like, spark powers and all the Sith
Yeah.
shit. Force Unleashed was, like, the first game I tried that I was like, ooh, you can kind of do that. So
Yeah.
they were all fun.
Yeah, and I remember, like, I played that game. Actually, that's the reason why I actually watched the Star Wars movies, because the whole, promotion around Force Unleashed was it's the connective tissue between episode 3 and 4 until basically Disney bought the franchise and declared it non-canon.
Nope.
Yep, exactly. But for what it is, it's okay. I played better, hack and slash action games in my life. But for what it is, it's fun. I mean, it's definitely better than the second one, which I heard nothing but bad things compared to the first. So
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I never played either of them. But, good question. Next up from 5th
I will actually say it was a great question.
It was.
There you go. Suck it. But next up from 5th Gen Move.
I know.
Yeah, you're a sweetie pie. What the hell? At Brian's request, if one video game genre was removed from existence, which would you rather keep? Pinball games or shoot 'em ups? You mother.
Oh.
Such an easy answer.
I mean,
For me.
I guess.
And you know what, Jim? Let's even add in there. There's no such thing as pinball tables either.
Oh, gee, fuck. Oh, make it even worse now. Jesus.
Enjoy it, Jim.
Drive that stake deeper into that.
Because, shoot 'em ups are better games in general. But I've had pinball for so long.
That's right. Taste that revenge, penis.
I don't
Mercy's
want
a
it.
penis.
It's uncircumcised and it looks weird.
Damn it.
I guess I gotta go shoot 'em ups just because they're better
course.
games in general. But fuck you.
Say bye to your pinball. What about you, Blade?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of have to echo the same answer too, which kind of pains me because I actually do enjoy a lot of video pinball games. In particular, I would say the Pokemon pinball games are actually pretty addicting.
They're great.
They are. I mean, even if you don't like Pokemon, they're actually really fun. It's like the whole idea that you use the Pokeball is the actual ball, and you have to fling it the right direction to catch the Pokemon, and then you have to evolve them by reaching specific areas of the board. It's really entertaining. And there's some other stuff that I can also mention, and I can talk about it for hours. But yeah, shmups have been, a staple in gaming forever, You can even, put Asteroids as, a shmup in a way, so...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
I know it's not a traditional shmup, but, it counts in a way, so... I mean, and obviously there's, the whole treasure stuff with the Karuga and Radiant Silvergun. There's just so many good ones. Yeah, I'll have to go with that. So.
You have, as of we're recording this on the 10th, you have 5 more days to download Radiant Silvergun for free on Xbox Live.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic version, too. Absolutely must download as well.
Yeah. So, that's an easy answer for me. Shoot 'em ups, and I would do the Duke Nukem 3D peeing on the old pinball machines as it goes away.
I gotta let the dragon out.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Next up from Tony Montana. Thoughts on Abington/Huntington Valley legend Bob Saget. To me, he'll always be Danny Tanner, one of the best TV dads of all time. Rest in peace, Bob.
Yeah, it's really, really sad, shocking. As of now, do we know how he died? What was the cause of death?
Not yet. We're recording the day after he died, so they
Okay.
didn't release it yet, or they don't know yet. I don't know.
So, terrible. Obviously, as Philly local, he always came on Preston and Steve, which is a local radio show. He's great in everything he was in. But yeah, I always think of him as Full House. I know he's super dirty and everything else in Jim. That's where you probably know him more as his dirtier shit. I always appreciate him more, even just from the Full House and obviously America's Funniest. I grew up watching him like that. So it really, really sucks. And I feel like too many, 2022 is starting off with craziness. So yeah, I feel like, what was he, 50s?
65.
Maybe 60. Okay.
Yeah.
So still
Look
pretty
good for
damn
65,
young.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty damn young. So really sucks. Sad.
It's really crazy that in the span of 2 weeks we lost, Betty White, Sidney Poitier, and now Bob Saget. It's just crazy that all of those legends,
Yeah, it's crazy we lost a 99-year-old woman. Yeah, that's a real shocker.
I mean,
I just like to keep saying that because it pisses off my wife. She's like, oh, it's so sad Betty White died. I'm like, yeah, it's real fucking crazy. Heard she flipped her Harley, with those 99-year-olds. What's in the wacky annex?
I mean, the most optimistic way I can take, her passing is the fact that 2020 was so bad that, it took her down, and she's like, well, you think you're taking me down? I'm taking you down with me. And she killed 2022 as well.
Yeah, it was a real tough life of being universally loved for, 5 decades. That's pretty fucking tough.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Jim, stop being so jelly.
I'm fucking extremely jelly.
But as for Bob Saget, I grew up, Full House was actually pretty big in Israel, so I used to watch it a lot as a kid, and I kind of identified with Danny. My real name is Daniel, so I guess that's maybe why I had that connection. That show was on when I was, very, very young, so I was very impressionable at the time. I liked him, and I liked Joey and, Stephanie the most in that show. Because, I didn't want to be everyone's like, oh, John Stamos and the Olsen twins. So... But I enjoyed it. I think it's kind of, I have to give him a lot of credit, him as an actor, because when I actually saw, his stand-up stuff and, how, raunchy and vulgar he can get, I was like, that's Danny Tanner? What?
Yeah.
That's impressive. He was able to, hold that kind of personality back and sell us, this, squeaky clean, TV figure, essentially. And he's even cleaner on, America's Funniest Home Videos, when the whole, I'm doing a funny voiceover when something silly happens, that whole shtick that he was doing. I don't know, I have to say, from, an emotional perspective, it's sad because it's him, and also in terms of, I grew up on Fresh Prince, and when James Avery, who played Uncle Phil, also passed away, I kind of, felt a similar thing. It's it's another, I know it's on TGIF, but, that same, comedy block of, those, parent figures that he used to watch so often as a kid, and they're not here anymore, and,
right.
Yeah, it's just sad, and, the fact he was this, he just had a comedy show, the night before, and then it just happened. It goes to show, how much we need to, cherish our life, and just keep on living and appreciate the life we have,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Chambers?
Yeah, what do you call it? Grew up... I wasn't the biggest, Full House fan as a kid, but, I watched it and would watch America's Funniest Home Videos with my parents and shit like that, so, yeah, he's part of all of our childhoods. I actually haven't seen that much of his, stand-up, and even the stuff I saw, I was like, it's alright. It seemed a little try-hard, he tried, to be, the complete opposite of, his public persona and stuff like that. The weirder memories I have of him are, that, phase of the late 90s when, the cool thing was just for, everyone seemingly shit on Bob Saget out of nowhere, even though he was out of the public eye for a while.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So it was, South Park, made fun of him, and, in that one episode, from, the first season.
Yeah, it's the finale of season 1, I remember, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's this, random pop-punk song that I remember vividly from, 8th grade called Bob Saget, I Hate You. And... it was just a random song that would be buried in Napster that you'd randomly come across.
I think the funniest thing I remember, and it's not to make fun of the guy, of course. For the funniest thing I've ever seen is a Bob Saget with an eye patch, and they call it Bob Sagat, from Street Fighter. Nice. Hey, Sagat is an awesome person, so it's a compliment in my opinion.
Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, no, 65 seemed way too sudden, way too young. So yep, rest in peace.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with all the jokes, we appreciate what he has done, for entertainment, and all the best for his family and friends.
Right. Yeah. So Dan said fuck him, and I agree. So last stuff from Burn Redness might have been asked. Dan, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Might have been asked before, but no, I'm not. But what's a game that was never ported to the States that you really wanted to play at the time?
Ooh, that's a good question
answer for me.
Go ahead. I need to think.
It's one that I don't know. I'm not I've never been someone who's searched out shit, but what was it called? Underworld, The Eternal War, that only came out in UK for PS2.
Oh.
Because there's never been an Underworld game. I like the movies.
Oh, the Kate Beckinsale movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's basically a kind of a stick shooter, is my understanding. Maybe partial hack and slash, but you're her I don't know if you can be other characters. I've never seen a ton of footage on it.
Sure.
But it looked kind of cool, and I was like, why is it not? I still don't know why it's not coming, but
That's weird.
I'm gonna add that to my list because I'm gonna emulate the shit out of it or figure out a way to, because I still don't know why that never even got a port, or whether maybe it was shittily received. But that was one I was pretty mad never got to play. So that's my answer.
Well, you better run from a DMCA.
I'm not scared of them. We're too small.
Fair.
Oh no! Don't strike down our channels we don't make shit money off of. Oh
Yeah.
no! But
Patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Support my lifestyle and my habits. Support my vices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the only one I can think of is like, anytime I see like retrospective videos on stuff like that, like I'm always interested in playing cannon fodder. And for if you don't know, it's like you control a little squad of like 3 to 5 guys. It's kind of real time strategy-ish and kind of just like overhead action-y kind of stuff. And yeah, it came out on like the Mega Drive in Europe and like the 3DO and shit like that. Of course, not the CDI, so of course I can't do that. But yeah, it was just like one of those random games I look at. I'm like, this looks interesting, and it's just weird that like it seemed to be really popular and it never came out here. And you could probably go with like all the Micro Machines sequels too, because like we always got like the first one, but like in the UK they had like 5 of them, and they just like never came over here. So Codemasters kind of had a hate boner for North America.
And it was on the Super NES, but they never ported that.
I don't think it came to the States either on that. I could be wrong, but
You're probably wrong.
probably. When ain't I?
What about you, Blade?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, like you're talking about UK, but honestly, I'm like 100% weeaboo, as in lover of the Japanese culture. So obviously, I'm probably gonna choose something from Japan. And I was
which hentai game?
Yes.
Let's see. Backdoor Sluts 7, The Revenge of the Cum Dungeon. Anyways.
That's actually a favorite. That's top shelf in my library.
That's the one with the 3D dungeon, actually. Anyway. What am I talking about?
Yes.
I'm actually going to go for a game that came out in both Japan and Europe, but never came to the States. Even though, I mean, I know I lived in Europe like back when I was younger, but it still kind of counts. And that's Vibribbon for the PS1.
Oh, yeah. That's a good bit.
Yeah. Because I like rhythm games, and I like the idea of, like, taking, any kind of, like, music CD that you have and essentially create a level based on each track of that CD. So the game only has, like, 6 tracks, which, I mean, sounds like kind of, pitifully short, which yeah it is, but essentially forever. They give you like a taste of what you can do, but then you put like any kind of like music CD you have, and then it creates a level. And how the game works, for those of you who don't know, is that depending on the disc you have, it creates a level which is this like bunny character walking across a thin line, and along the line there's going to be different patterns on the line, like a triangle or a loop, and you have to press a specific button combination to cross those different gaps and patterns. And it starts really easy, but then you have to, press multiple buttons together, and, it gets really tricky. And the weirdest part about this game, too, is that it kind of creates those, levels randomly. So you'd think, a very fast song is going to be the hardest one, but sometimes the slowest songs, the tempo is just running so fast, it's just like, wait, what? So
goddamn off-time jazzy bullshit.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, but it's such a revolutionary game, and I don't know why it never came, stateside. Yeah, that's the one thing I can think about right now that's like really called me out regarding that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. No, that's a good question.
So, from Gamer Astral, game you have beaten the most times in your life.
Shit. I mean, for me, it's going to be probably Resident Evil 1, especially if I combine in the remakes with it. That, or honestly, it's going to be a beat 'em up. Might be Streets of Rage 2. It's going to be one of those. Yeah, I played them way too much and beat them way too much. What about you, Chambers?
It's all my top games, either Star Fox 64, Streets of Rage 2, Mario Kart 64, or Super Street Fighter 2. Take your pick, one of them. It's going to be one of them.
What about you, Blade?
You finished Star Fox 64 times?
I think I've finished that 640 times at least.
Nice.
Sucks at him.
Nice.
Bitch!
Easiest question for me, probably Sonic 3 is my favorite game of all time. So yeah, Sonic 3,
Okay.
Sonic and Knuckles. I mean, I could even throw in Sonic 2, which I know it's not the same game, but sure, it's like Genesis Sonic. Let's just toss them all in there. Yeah, that would be my answer.
No, that's a good question. But yeah, no, I think. Damn, that's a really good question because I'm trying to think if there's any other really short games that maybe we've just played enough.
Maybe Sonic 1 for me, but I don't think I've hit it as much as the other ones.
Yeah. I would see, man. I love
It's a
keeping
tinker.
lists.
It's a
I would
tickler. It's a
love
tinker.
to have had a legit. This is the only thing I like about modern consoles. I'm sure you can track like how many times you've actually beaten a game.
Yeah.
Having info like that would be kind of cool from when we were kids.
Yeah, I mean, I played a lot of that Tiny Toon game for the Genesis. That's another one I played a lot growing up.
Yeah.
They were solid games.
No, great
Konami,
question.
yeah.
Well, thank you though, bud. Appreciate it.
Because I'm in denial.
Speaking of great, that wraps up our Patreon questions for this week. So thank you once again to everyone for the support. And as always, if you head over to patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, $1 a month gets you a shout out and access to some exclusive videos. $2 gets you a question. $5 gets you bonus episodes and a game review request of your choice. $10 gets you to use us as your billboard for your content, and some more stuff over there. So go check it out.
Thank you guys. Truly appreciate it. All right, so we are back, Chambers. How did that oatmeal stout treat you?
I just poured out my third one. It's okay.
Going through it?
It's kind of flavorless. Like, it's
Really?
all right as an oatmeal stout. Yeah, it's just not really like I'm expecting more flavor, like something really to grab me, and just nothing there. So it's all right, but
Yeah.
it's not. It won't be a go-to.
Jim, you poor bastard. Speaking of flavorless.
Would you say it was stout of the art?
Damn it.
Do the dance. Do the dance.
Okay, fine.
Wrong one.
Okay.
Damn it.
What can I say? My Corona Light is no flavor. I did 2 of them. I'm actually decided to go to water because it's a little more tasty. So
Oh, what's that?
Shots fired.
Oh my God, have you joined the light side? Oh,
yep.
yes. Join the light. Wait, that's the opposite. I should do like yes. Join the light.
Yeah. But all right, Blade. We got you here. We got you for this list.
Let's do
Because
this.
a lot of these I have thoughts on, but I really want to know if you've been able to play. So this year we're going from GamesRadar.com. The link
Yeah,
is below.
I'm sick of bitching about Polygon and Kotaku, so I figured, fuck it, let's give another page a chance.
Try
So,
somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
All
I'm
right.
so sad last year they didn't have Crash 4. I mean, hashtag bias, but I don't care.
it is
Couldn't
so
be
hard.
even number 32 or whatever? I mean, jeez, Polygon.
No, they had to put some artsy bullcrap in there that made you think about.
Yeah.
Wait, let me get my pinky.
All right, so
so
number
fancy.
25, we got Unpacking, which I saw this game. I was going to make fun of it, but honestly, there are so many games that are, I just call it random chores. Like I joked about Lawnmower Simulator, and there's Power Wash Simulator, and like there's simulators for everyday activities. And I've actually seen a few games like this that are literally about organizing, packing, unpacking. Blade, have you played that at all?
It doesn't really look like my kind of game, with all due respect. I mean, one of the things I hate the most to do when I have to go on like a trip or something is to pack a luggage, because man, it's like playing real life Tetris of how you fit everything. But let's be real, the fact that it made it into a top 25, even if it's the bottom, that means the game has to have some kind of merit, so I respect that for sure. It's just, I don't know, I mean, there are some games that were really successful doing, menial things. I mean, Papers, Please is the first thing that comes up to mind. I mean, Papers, Please is about reading people's papers, when they try to pass through, like, a border. And you just do this over and over again. But there's, like, the tension of, like, letting the wrong person in and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of intrigue there. I don't know much about unpacking, so for me, there's not really a whole lot to unpack here.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Clever girl.
I mean, Jim jerked off over a game where he watched a plant grow, so,
Flower is adorable and heartwarming. How dare you, sir?
Oh, I have a game for you, actually. I can also recommend if you like that.
Go on.
It's called Paint Dry. Watch paint dry on a wall.
Son of a...
Damn, Jim, do you need that number for that burn unit?
Paint dry.
So back to unpacking.
I need to have it as a sound clip, like paint dry.
Oh, you're gonna be loading up the Steam Deck for me. But yeah, the only thing I know about this game is when we talked about it a few weeks back, because people didn't know what a GameCube was, so they kept getting lost and they couldn't progress, which I thought was funny. But because it's set in the late '90s, early 2000s. But besides that, it's nothing I'd ever really play.
Yeah.
Well, but good on them. Good for a small team for making it on the list. So good on you. Witchbeam. That's a cool name for a company, actually. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is it a witch that's shooting a beam, or is it a beam made of witches?
And where's it coming from?
Wait, well, which beam are you guys talking about?
Oh, get it! That's something I would say.
Jim, you see what I did there? I made a ha-ha.
Malige.
Yeah.
Go back
This
to
is
my
Jim's
tasteless
worst
beer.
nightmare. All right. So number 24, a game I'm actually interested in, The Forgotten City, which I didn't realize, and I'm reading this, it started out as a Skyrim mod. And then they converted it into this like Roman mythology, and it's time looping. So from what I've seen, it's very interesting. Like the city inhabitants get turned into gold, and you can use it like back and forth. From people that we know who I actually seen review it, it looks like something I'd be interested in, and I'm a sucker for Roman and European history, even though it's more mythology. But yeah, I'm not shocked it's on here. But have you played it at all, Blur?
No, I haven't, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, and it seems like the whole like roguelike time looping thing has kind of been a trend in 2021. I sort of noticed that, and it seems to be one of the games that did a pretty good job at it. That like even if the time repeats itself, so you can't really explore that far, so you can't really roam all that further in the game.
Yeah.
Roam.
What about you, Chambers?
Rome
Oh,
further.
I know what you did.
I
I
know.
saw what you did there.
I'm not acknowledging every single one, you sons of bitches. But yeah, no, it looks pretty good. And like you guys said, this is one I actually heard of like here and there. They'd be like, Forgotten City. Like I'd hear someone say, "Oh, you have to play this," and I'd be like, "Oh, that sounds cool." And then I, of course, never followed up on it. But yeah, I mean, the fact that even in my little online travels, I've heard about it. That's more than I can say for most of these lists we ever go through. So that's something right there. So it sounds like it has a good track record. Looks interesting.
Yeah, it kind of looks a lot like Outer Wilds in terms of like the first person like puzzle expert. I know that Outer Wilds doesn't have like the whole looping mechanic, but it seems like the kind of game that you have to just go out, explore, and just figure things out. So
Yeah.
So
Here's another one. I've heard some things, not quite as much, but Death's Door.
ooh,
It's the easiest way. I like how they sum it up, but you're basically a crow who's reaping souls, and it's kind of like Legend of Zelda meets Kingdom Hearts meets a Metroidvania. So I don't know. What have you guys heard about this, or have you played it?
let you go first, Jim.
Okay, I've heard of it, but I really haven't heard much about it. But I don't know. I'm kind of in a little bit of a adventure game-ish, Metroidvania-ish kick right now. So this is something I'll definitely play.
I mean, you just
And it's
finished
on
Zelda
Switch.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is it? Oh, it is on Switch. Man, it's on everything. I remember when it came out originally, it was just on the Xbox family. So I guess it kind of like spread to like other platforms. I think it came out on PlayStation in November. I actually didn't know about the Switch port, so That's pretty cool. Yeah, a bunch of my friends played it, told me it was great. I just didn't have time to play it, but yeah, it is something that I might enjoy. I mean, I do like, the isometric, action games. I mean, Hades was one of my favorite games from last year. And I remember I was watching this video of this guy who was like talking about the games he played through the year, and I think he gave Hades like an S rank or something. I mean, it was pretty good. I don't know, but I think you should watch that video. It's a pretty good video.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Games I played in 2021. Ranking the games I played in 2021 on DrinkABeerandPlayAGame.
Wait, it was you?
About 4 videos ago, something like that. Oh, no, things happen on here. Love it.
Yeah, Death's Door looks pretty interesting, and I think it's still in Game Pass. So for those who have Game Pass,
yeah, then I would definitely try it.
Yeah. If it hasn't been removed from Game Pass, because I know they have this circulation.
All right, this next one.
Take a look.
Yep. No fucking idea. Number 22.
Watermyth. I've never heard a thing about this.
Yeah, PC. Number 1. Can I say I hate this design of the 2D, but they're like paper statues.
You are just mad because it reminds you of
corny.
Parappa.
It's just so corny. It's like, no, it's not even stylized where it's cool enough to be stylized.
That's not fair. They're not even made of
timeless look. Brian will never be outdated.
Yeah, come on. They're not even made
not
of
timeless look.
Timeless look.
No. A unique and boring. I'm not going to put effort into it and be cutesy with it. You know who did a really timeless look? Puppeteer. That's not Puppeteer level. Go fuck yourself.
I'll agree the Puppeteer has a timeless look.
See, I win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't get the whole, it looks corny because none of them are actually made of corn, first of all. So I think that's...
How do you know?
How can corn be flat like that?
We knew Blade was a corn apologist. We knew it.
That's why I drink.
I'm actually
more of my upbringing.
I'm actually more of a corn agnostic, but that's besides the point. From what I know about Willermyth, it's kind of like a Western take on the grid-based tactical RPGs like Fire Emblem and Advance Wars and stuff like that. And apparently, for what I know about the game, that's supposed to be one of the coolest things about it is that depending of the choices you make through the game and say how often a character is damaged, the story actually changes accordingly, and also your offspring will have different attributes based on how you play as their ancestors too. So there's a lot of depth into the system as far as I'm aware. But I'm a console gamer through and through. So it's not I'm anti-PC, PC Master Race and all that stuff. But I usually play on consoles because my PC is where I do my work, the console is where I do my gaming. I like to have that separation, so maybe I'll play it if it comes to consoles in the future. Just that's the reason why I didn't get it. So
yeah, it's odd to me seeing a PC exclusive game, especially making lists like this. Who really played that?
I mean,
because it's exclusive doesn't mean it could still be good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but not top 25 good.
You just hate the Parappa look.
Yeah.
Admit it.
I was thinking Paper Mario, but okay.
Yeah, that can suck a dick too.
Jesus.
Well,
speaking of exclusive, especially for a stupid system,
I thought you were about to say, speaking of sucking dick. Jesus.
Monster Hunter Rise.
Now, those monsters have amazing phallic objects. I gotta tell you. Rathalos, man, he's large and in charge.
It's a Switch exclusive, but what's weird is it's gonna be coming out actually in 2 days on PC. So it won't be exclusive for long.
Right.
But, Monster Hunter is a series. It's another one where I've heard good things. I've just never gotten into it. So I'm not shocked it's in here. But
yeah, what do you call it? I hear with the Monster Hunter games, it seems like every new entry is always the best one to start with because the old ones are really not user friendly and they just keep making quality of life improvements. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Rise. I've just never gotten around to the Monster Hunter series.
Yeah.
As for me, I mean, I'm probably on the minority, but I actually liked World more than Rise. I just thought like World had a better flow to it, and I enjoyed the combat of World more. And I'm not sure if it's because that Rise is like made on the Switch, and let's be honest, I mean, I love the Switch as a system, but I think that Rise is really pushing its like graphical, like, you know, capabilities to its limits. Sometimes it can be kind of like slow at times. Which apparently both World and Rise were, the development started at the exact same time, but obviously this goes to show how long it takes to develop a game for the Switch compared, you know, to the PS4 and Xbox One at the time. So I give him a lot of props, you know, for making, I mean, but here's the thing, it's really hard to make a game for the Switch, you know, if you're not Nintendo and you know how to optimize it. But the fact they did it and the game turned out as well as it did is good on them. I mean, one of the coolest things they added to Rise is this like little grappling hook thingy that you can like shoot and like swing into walls, so that way you're able to cover more like vertical surfaces quicker, so you can climb faster. I think that's a cool idea. I would just love it, honestly, to be hopefully get like a PlayStation or an Xbox release. So hopefully we can get like, you know, like 60 frames per second. That's what I hate about this new generation of consoles. I became a frame rate snob. It's like 60 FPS or bust. I mean, that's...
I see Zoomers say that 30's unplayable. I'm like, fuck you.
It is playable, but it's not as fun, I'll say that. Like, I mean, there's something about 60 frames that's just very magical.
Well, yes, it's just so goddamn smooth. I agree with that. But, like, 30 is perfectly fine. Like, I grew up in the goddamn fucking dark ages of, like, 12.
But 30's good, but here's the deal. No, it's only an issue if you try to make it look like a realistic game. Yeah, 30's fine for older styles. You don't need 60 on 8 and 16-bit inspired games.
Yeah.
30 will do. But yeah, if you try to do a Skyrim on 30, it'll look like shit. It will become unplayable. But that's a different style.
Yeah. It doesn't run at 60 anyway.
But I'm saying, like, 30 is pretty shitty for games like that.
Yeah.
Skyrim barely hits 30 when on its original consoles.
Oh god, like the PS3 version. Oh god.
The 360, yeah.
Yeah.
But the modern ones look much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the problem that I had also with Rise
you put like
is just...
200 hours into it on the 360, so you shut the fuck
Yeah, but I can admit that it wasn't optimal.
Yeah, but we still played it because, you know, it was Skyrim at the time.
Didn't care then. Now
yeah.
Everyone's a little snobby.
No, of course we didn't care because that was the
Chip,
7th generation. Yeah,
Chip,
we didn't care.
It's like the first time you discover there's something better than jerking off called having sex. You don't want to go backwards, you want to go forwards, Jim. Some things are better than others.
I can do you one better. Donkey Kong 64 was beloved at that time because that's the only option we had. You know I'm right. I mean, I don't like to admit it, but I'm right.
All right, moving on. Let's move this
but before
on.
we move on, I mean, even more important like issue that I had with Rise than the frame rate, which is that's a nitpick, but it's also like you mentioned earlier, like, you know, each game is becoming more and more user friendly because of quality of life improvements. There's a lot of tutorials. There's a lot of text. And in the hub world, there's just a lot of, like, you know, dialogue of, like, you know, you have to press this button to talk to this person, and there's, like, 5 menus for each NPC, and I'm like, let me just hack some monsters and let me enjoy myself.
You know what? Thank you for telling me that. Now I never have to play it. So
yeah, it's like, I love hack and slash games, but I like it when, like, the controls are simple, but, like, it's hard to master. Like, that's more of my speed. And I respect Monster Hunter, but...
Yeah.
I think I'm good for a little bit. I mean, maybe if the expansion is going to change my mind, but we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of games I'll never play, number 20, Eastward, Zelda and Earthbound-inspired RPG with an amazing art style. It looks cool, but I don't need a fucking RPG right now, so I'm not going to get around to it.
It does look cool, but
I'm sure it's great. If you like the genre, I'm sure it's great, but it's a thing I'm not going to put any time into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played it either. At least with the screenshot, it looks nice. I'll give it that. I mean...
Yeah, it looks really nice. Yeah.
I can see the Earthbound inspiration, you know, in every pixel in the frame there, but... Yeah, I mean, I guess... I mean, here's the thing. Like, if people cannot, you know, have a new Earthbound, and this can supplement, you know, having, like, an Earthbound 4... Or, sorry, Mother 4. I apologize. Then... good on them. If the game is great, excellent. They're just other games I need to play, so I only have like a giant backlog. So maybe I'll get to it. Just right now is not the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Next one looks more interesting. The Artful Escape. Talking about the way it looks and what it's set up as a platformer that is music inspired. Like, seems to be a lot going on. It's kind of like a psychedelic thing going on.
Yeah, I've heard nothing about it, but I'm actually pretty interested. This looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like not a very, like, super, like, long game. It kind of reminds me,
Perfect.
like, you know, of, what's the game that came out a few years back that has similar, it had, like, Sayonara Wild Hearts. That's what I was thinking of, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, like, with the color scheme is very,
Neon-ish
Sayonara
and
Wild
stuff.
Hearts. And which is funny, too, because that game had, like, Queen Latifah doing the narration, and I'm seeing this game has, like, you know, what's her name? Lena Headey, and, also Jason Schwartzman is in it, which is, like... he's, like, one of, like, you know, those, like, Wes Anderson actors, you know, that shows in these, like, you know... fancy movies or whatever. So it looks like they put a lot of, like, you know,
Effort and
heart
all.
into it. It looks nice. Like, it actually looks like a very interesting game. I mean, the thing about me as a gamer in general, and I think I've said it before, like in the last couple of times I was on, I'm definitely more of like the arcade, like, you know, put a controller and let me like do some, like, you know, fun game stuff, more so than, like, you know, I want to go and like see like art exhibits, you know. I just want to be active in my experience more so than like a watcher. But
Sure.
Who knows? Maybe it's a great experience, and, you know, I want to be wrong about that. Absolutely.
It could be, yeah. But realistically, probably none of us are getting to it.
I mean, if it's on Game Pass, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it's a Microsoft platform exclusive
Yeah.
almost, so it's probably on there.
Yeah.
All right. So number 18, we got Solar Ash, which is you know what it reminded me of? The chick looks like she could be out at Darksiders, and it basically skates on clouds. It's like a weird combo of this outer worldly, crazy designed, and you skate around. You have like a whip which attaches to things.
That's pretty cool.
It looks like a more interesting. Is it a 3D platformer or is it more 2D? I can't really tell by the pictures I'm looking at.
It's funny because to me, like, from the art, it actually reminds me of Dead Cells a lot. Like the green and dark red. I'm thinking of Dead Cells.
I need to get around to that. I've never played that yet.
Oh, Dead Cells is great. If you like Castlevania, you would love Dead Cells.
Nice.
It plays a lot of like a modern Castlevania, like Bloodstained.
Ooh.
Only with like roguelite elements, basically. So it might be my favorite roguelite besides Hades, but anyways, let's keep going with Solar Ash. I don't know much about it, actually. This is also one of those
same. I never heard about it before this list, but from everything I'm reading, I imagine it'll almost be like I'm not saying as impactful as Mirror's Edge, but like it's all about like the way you move, slide, boost, hop the thing. So it's just probably a very stylized platformer.
Can I go off on a quick tangent? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do like a small intro. Time for another tangent. Ding! So Mirror's Edge, as you probably all know, about 2 months ago, Microsoft released the final update for the backwards compatibility program, where they added a bunch of like original Xbox and 360 games. But what they also did is they did like an FPS boost for a bunch of 360 games that were never 60 FPS before. One of them is Mirror's Edge, and that game also is in 4K now. And playing Mirror's Edge in 4K 60 FPS on, like, you know, a 4K TV. Holy crap, it looks great. Oh my god, I mean, I loved this game before, but holy crap. It's so
That's another
good.
one that always was, like, you know, stylized. So, like, you know, the art style wasn't going to go out of fashion, so you boost it up. It holds up, right?
Especially, you know, if you have like a TV that supports HDR, and then, you know, the game is like very bright, so obviously you want to have the contrast, you know, in the luminance and all that. But yeah, like freaking Mirror's Edge. Sorry, and that was my tangent.
Nah, it's good.
I'm still playing on a 2010 Plasma, so I'm not going to be able to experience all this.
I mean, I'm using an OLED, and that's probably like, you know, like the newer version of Plasmas anyway. So you know.
Yeah.
You're good. Plasmas
Back
are
to
good.
Solar Ash. I don't have a PS4 or 5, and my PC can't really play games, so I'm not going to do it.
I might as well PC you later. of a bitch. Yeah, let's go on.
One I'm very interested in, and I'm actually kind of mad at myself I haven't played because it was my introduction to RTSs, Age of Empires 4. I'm seeing a lot of good stuff about it. The problem is I kind of moved on to Warhammer and other and Total War games. But without a doubt, I will be playing this game. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of just mad I haven't gotten to it yet. And I always love those games. And to me, those way more than... and this isn't a dig at Jim.
I know.
Way more than... what the hell is that
StarCraft.
RTS you always played? Yeah, I was always into these ones. So, yeah, I always liked them.
Yeah. Again, I don't have a PC to play it on, but I'd love to play it.
Yeah. What about you, Blade?
Do you remember the question earlier we had from the Patreons, like what game genre you would remove if you had the capability between pinball and shmups?
Mm-hmm.
Like, before you actually gave me those two options, I actually had one answer in my brain. RTSs. It's the one genre I just never connected to. And
Really?
I don't hate RTSs, for the record. It's just...
Sounds like you got some hate.
No, no. Hate is gonna be something more for Balan Wonderworld, but we get to that later. Actually, it's not gonna be on the list anyway. But that's more my biggest.
It's number one. You just spoiled it.
It's my heartbreak over the year, that's for sure. No, I just never connected to those games, but I do appreciate a lot of the hard work that goes into them, especially with industry experience now. I realize how much really goes into making games, so I'm even more empathetic and sympathetic towards, developers.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it's a genre I just never connected to. But Age of Empires 4 does look really nice. I've heard a lot of great things from people who do like the genre. And based on the developer's record, I hope that it sells well and doesn't become a relic.
Hopefully. I mean...
Is that another pun?
I know what he
did.
did.
Another goddamn pun
I know
in
what he
there?
did. But I
It's
wasn't
made
giving
by
it to him.
Relic Entertainment. That's why I said that.
All right, you bastard. Well, the next one I'm actually shocked is as high on the list. It's
I've
not
heard
lower.
nothing but bad things about this.
Really?
My neck literally just went like when I saw that just now. I didn't even know
Yeah.
that was coming.
Far Cry 6.
Wow.
What? All I heard was people just going, yeah, it's too short, it's too easy, and it kind of sucked. That's all I ever heard about this game.
Over a bunch of other games in this list, I'm actually surprised. Yeah, weird.
Well, I mean, most of the list has been indie bullshit to this point, so I guess.
I would like to say...
I love me some indie games. But
I'll call it
don't get me
indie
wrong.
filler at worst, but yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
It's just that... But here's the AAA filler, if anything. It's And again, I don't like, to say, shit on developers or anything, but Far Cry, if we're talking about, chips is, comfort food, for me, Pokemon is that, equivalent of, potato chips. I think Far Cry is for, shooter fans. A lot of people just, hey, do you want to turn off your brain and play some Far Cry? I'm like, yeah, whatever, sure, so...
Exactly, yeah.
That's probably why it's, as high as it is, that's my guess, and... my main criticism is what I've been hearing is it's the same as the other one. So if you like the other ones, you're probably gonna enjoy it too. I mean, I haven't really played a Far Cry game to completion since the third one, which is probably the peak of the series, and it hasn't really reached that ever since. So.
Yeah.
That's what I hear, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and they have the guy, what's his name? The guy from Mandalorian, what's his name? Giancarlo Esposito is in it too. So
Yeah.
He's in all over the
They
promotion.
always have interesting bad guys. It is a turn your brain off, but it's another one where I go, if you're not going with the main FPS multiplayer games for single player, it's one of your few good options for FPS campaigns.
Honestly, yeah, I actually playing this game with a friend together. I think that can actually be pretty fun. Just causing havoc in a remote island or whatever. I mean, it seems pretty fun, so... Yeah. I think the thing is that I do think that maybe Far Cry is getting a lot of flack from a lot of people. I do think the series does have its merit. I just don't think, it's best of the year. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, the next one up, I'm again shocked with, because all I ever heard was amazing things about this. And they have Forza Horizon 5 at number 15. What?
Yeah, I'm really shocked that didn't break in the top 10. Like, this game right here is the
Like,
standard.
I've heard love. Like, I've
Yeah.
heard of people who bought a Series X just to be able to play this in, like, the most optimal way. Like,
Yeah,
nothing but praise. Yeah.
it's a Forza of nature.
I'm not doing
Son
it.
of a bitch.
I'm
Yeah,
not
we did
doing
it already. Yeah.
I'm
No.
not doing it.
All I'm gonna say is this: like every year, this is the standard I'm holding the ones below it at. So I'm gonna be like, is it really gonna be better than Forza? So yeah,
I
And I
don't
know
even,
Brian's going to have a shit fit in the next one.
yeah, it's already. You're like,
I'm not
that's
even
the proof.
looking. I don't want to
Proof
ruin
is
it
in the
for you.
pudding right there.
Have you guys ever played Forza before? Like any of those games?
Yeah.
The older ones I dipped in my toes in. Yeah.
Yep.
But not the Horizon ones.
No, I never did a Horizon.
I'm gonna break down and play it, even though it's not gonna be close to optimize. Like I would like to play it on a new system, but I'm
Play
gonna just because it's available and it's like it's on Game Pass, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, or you can play 4. I mean, just to kind of like, warm yourself up before when eventually you get a Series X, then
Yeah.
you can play 5. I haven't played 5 yet, but I have played a lot of 3. And I'm not even like a big sim racing kind of guy. If I play my racing games,
Me neither.
It's more of the arcade stuff like Mario Kart or Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing and all that stuff. And you might be surprised that I'm gonna say this right now, but the Hot Wheels game that came out this year is really freaking good. Like that's probably the biggest surprise of the year was Hot Wheels Unleashed. Like,
Interesting.
I don't know how. I mean, I can go into it when we do the addendum of like stuff that wasn't on the list that should have been on the list, so I can go back to it later. But
Yeah.
for Forza or Forza, whatever people want to call it at this point, I don't care anymore. Just seeing this game in motion is just like
It's crazy.
picturesque. It's probably the most beautiful game to be on consoles right now, and still maintain like a very high frame rate. Because there's also Microsoft Flight Simulator, but even that game doesn't, I think, run to the whole 60 as far as I'm aware. And this game looks as good as it does, and it maintains the 60.
Yeah, now I don't think simulators maintain 60 on the series, but
I don't think it
on
does,
PC.
no.
Yeah.
And the series is actually a pretty beefy console, so I mean, it says a lot of
Oh, yeah.
how crazy Flight Simulator is, but nevertheless, it's just kind of. I think what people love about Forza is the fact that, with the Horizon series in particular, they just like driving around, and just like enjoying,
Just
the
looking
different
at it, yeah.
areas. Yeah, like I think first game was like Colorado, third game was like Australia, if I remember correctly. The last game 4 was like the UK. This one is in Mexico, so a lot of like cool things. I forgot where 2 takes place. I'm pretty sure it's a nice place. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how like consistently good those games are. I would argue that the Horizon series have been better than the mainline Forza games, which I think those games have been way
Yeah.
superior than Gran Turismo, which I forgot there was even Gran Turismo 7 coming out this year. I think, like, in the racing department, I think Microsoft destroyed Sony, in my honest opinion.
More recently, yeah, for sure.
Oh, I mean, I think Forza... I think Forza Motorsport for the original Xbox was probably better than Gran Turismo 6 on the PS3, so... That's my hot take right there. Yeah, I mean...
I'm either way, I'm just shocked. Like I said, it's the number that it's at.
It's crazy to me, but I guess if I have to go like into their heads, maybe they're like, oh, it's a niche
It's just a racing
genre,
game.
it's a racing game. Maybe it's not going to appeal to a lot of people. That's probably why.
Well, wait till we get to some other ones. But number 14, Jim's boat.
No,
Metroid Dread.
no, no. 5 years later, no, no.
Well, tell us how you really feel, Dan.
No! Well, how did you like the game of the year 2026? I was busy the last 5 years saying no over and over about Metroid Dread. No!
I still really want to play it next year, but I hear it seems to be a game either people really jack off or they're like, it's been passed by all the other Metroidvanias at this point.
I think it makes this list because, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you feel about it, it's always going to make the list. The placement is going to be the tricky part.
I mean, people do seem to love it, so it could be like an actually really good game. I know you have a hate boner for the graphics and stuff and for being a $60 game.
I mean, and based on people we know and reviews I've seen, it doesn't seem like you get your fill out of it. For how long they've waited for a Metroid game and everything combined, if this was an indie developed game, I'd say, yeah, that's a $60 game. But a Nintendo made thing, come on, man. You're not getting your full 60 out of that. So,
honestly, I beg to disagree, and I'll tell you why. Do you know what was the one thing I wanted to do the moment I finished Dread?
jerk off.
What was the second thing I wanted to do once I finished Dread?
Take a shit.
What was the third thing I wanted to do? Play Dread again. Because it's that good. And yeah, it's not a super long game. You can finish it in like 8 hours first time, maybe like 12 hours to get all of the items, but it's just fun to go through. Like, everything just clicks within Dread. Dread is one of those rare games. If you were asking me, like, what's wrong with it, I'll be like, what is wrong with Dread?
Is it because it's unmemorable?
No, I remember a lot of it. It has some of the best bosses in 2D games ever. Like, the bosses are absolutely phenomenal. I think maybe, like, the only thing that's, like, a little bit, like, about it is maybe, like, the soundtrack is probably one of the weakest one in the series, maybe, but it still fits. The Emmys, those, like, robots that, like, chase you through the world, they can be kind of, like, tricky to understand, like, their patterns and stuff like that, and you get caught by them a lot. And I can see how that can be frustrating to some. But even then, it's such a minor thing. Everything just clicks with Dread incredibly well. And this whole argument of, should this be a $60 game? If we get stuff like in a caliber like this that makes me want to play over and over again, yes, I would. I absolutely would.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been an appeal of Metroid games for people, is to go back and beat their times and shit, so...
Yeah, and you also have to consider when, like, Super Nintendo games back in the day were, like, $70.
Mm-hmm.
And we played them, too, that way. I mean, and Super Metroid was pretty much, like, similar length to Metroid Dread, so... You can make that argument, so...
Chambers, are you gonna get it?
I am gonna get it this year. It's on my list of resolution games, so... And GameStop today, what do you call it? They were like, oh, you have like 30-some thousand points. Like, that's 30-some bucks in, discounts. I was like, oh.
Go ahead,
well, then I'll spend that on Dread then, because God knows Nintendo will never drop the price. So, might as well just cash in all my points.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like Nintendo isn't going to encourage me to have to put on my sea shanty hat and go pirating.
You weren't gonna buy it anyway, so you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I'm not gonna moral douche about it.
But like I said earlier in this podcast, like, this was the year that made me appreciate Metroid. So playing through all those games and finishing with Metroid Dread was a wonderful experience. Especially since you consider, like, the same company made the 3DS game, which of the 5 games I played is probably the weakest. But I think the issue with it is that they had to pretty much put a Metroid game on the 3DS with limited buttons. So now that they have, like, proper, like, button configuration on the Switch, it runs much better too.
Yeah.
There's very little things that are actually wrong with Dread, and that's just a remarkable achievement to me. And I can gush a lot about it, but I'm gonna really back in. I will say this, though. I'm not sure if it's my game of the year yet. I mean, it sounds like I'm saying it, but don't quote me on that just yet.
Well, here's a question, because Jim and I cannot answer this at all, but Returnal for PS5. Did you play it?
Returnal, yeah! One of the funniest things to me about Returnal is that, did you know the company who made this game made Trunks-World Snowboarding for the original Xbox?
No.
That's the point, like...
damned.
Yeah, well, it's weird because, like, you think... a company that made like those like niche snowboarding game, and then they made like a bunch of indie games for like PlayStation, like Pixel Junk Shooter and Resogun and Nex Machina, and all of a sudden they make a AAA game. That's like their very first AAA game.
Yeah, and like a 3D AAA roguelike at that. Like, most roguelikes don't go this approach.
And guess what? It's pretty fucking great.
It sounds and looks cool. I love the design, and what the article is saying is that it's really like a showcase for the PS5. And I watched a quick little video of it. It's a game I would certainly like to play if I goddamn find a PS5.
Yeah, if you like shooting games, for sure you would like it, but
yeah.
Also like the way that the story like unfolds itself through the mechanic of the looping. Each time you loop, you find bits and pieces of how you get stranded on this planet, and there's a really cool twist actually at the halfway point that you kind of like changes like how the looping works, which I'm not gonna spoil obviously. But it keeps the mystery intriguing. That's kind of the reason why you keep like pushing forward more and more through the game. And
yeah, it just reveals more and more the story. Like I said, this past year I feel like has been the roguelike time loop year, and I feel like it's been building off of Hades' success. All these games are really just going to keep implementing it. And you know what? Hey, I'm cool with it because they are a fun style of games. So.
To me, is like this concept works if you as the player feeling a sense of growth. And thankfully with Returnal, because as you progress, when you die you lose all your equipment, but then you also gain like permanent abilities as you progress. And that way it's like, oh, I couldn't go to this area previously at the very beginning of the run, but now I have this like sword, I can cut through those like tendrils and go to this area where I can find a bunch of like awesome gear that I couldn't even use in my previous run. So
yeah,
and that was kind of my problem with like Binding of Isaac, because like when your run's done, like it's kind of it. But I get it. It was also like based off a Flash game too. So
right, yeah. And Binding of Isaac, it's like more like each like you only have like like a single screen room. Essentially, right. So there's so much they can do, with the visuals when it comes to that game. Just based on, like,
and that was the one even more than like you just said with Hades. Like that was the one that really brought roguelikes back. Like we're talking like almost a decade ago at this point.
Yeah, and in Hades, you have like the underworld, and you have like the lava area and Elysium and all those places that look pretty cool and colorful. Just take that idea and put it in a 3D game, with its like level design. That's Returnal, and yeah, if you have a PS5, this is a must purchase, absolutely. Maybe it's not for everyone. Not everyone can adjust to roguelike, because those games are inherently very difficult. But man, they're just like very rewarding.
Yeah, I've heard some who are like kind of like on it, but I don't know. It seems to be like the ones who love it really like it. So
yeah, it's probably
I definitely want to try it.
It's probably the biggest snub for like a nomination at the Game Awards, in my opinion. I'm surprised it didn't get like like a nod there, but
They should have a lot more Doritos.
All right.
Oh, yes. It needs more Mountain Dew.
That's right.
Number 12, we got Kenna, Bridge of Spirits.
I didn't hear about this at all.
Never heard about it. Just looked at some screenshots. It's a pretty looking game, but it's a kind of like a puzzle magic game is what I'm taking away from it. So, one, I'll be honest, unless it's free and it, I can somehow get it, I'm never going to play this one.
Yeah, I'll probably forget about it after we talk about this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just a few beers down and, you would think we're talking about... Jimmy. And then we're going to talk about PT again and how much I went into a tirade like 2 years ago about that. But because that's my job. I remember stuff like that where you guys don't have to.
Well, you didn't ruin your brain cells.
Yeah, look at my brain cells. Anyway.
My functioning man.
Kingdom Bridge of Spirits, for what I've heard from people, I haven't played it yet, but I do own it. It's very, like, Zelda-esque in terms of, like, its design, like 3D Zelda. It also harkens to a lot of, like, old school, like, like GameCube era level design, and that generation of consoles is one of my favorites, like GameCube, PS2, Xbox, like, it's like my jam. Yeah. So it plays a lot of, like, those games. It looks phenomenal. And here's the kicker. Like, if you look at the screenshot on that website, do you think this game looks pretty good, like, based on just, like, graphics alone?
Yeah, I mean, it looks all right. It looks like it could have been a 7th gen game with these graphics.
It's an indie game. That's the thing. This is made by a very small company.
No, I see. I said I looked at the other screenshots and I said I think it looks pretty damn good.
Like, it looks great, and when you learn it's from an indie company, from a very small studio too, and they pulled that off, I'm like,
pretty impressive, yeah.
Oh, now I'm seeing more pictures. Oh yeah, wow, that does look pretty good. Holy
it's
shit.
stunning, and I'm kind of beating myself up for not playing it yet, but it's on my list of to play, and
you'll have to add that to your level 50 club.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would. Yeah. I mean, it's even the first thing to say. It's a magical adventure.
Yeah.
That's a way
Jim, I'm awaiting you to really dive deep into number 11 and that whole series because it's a whole story-driven thing.
Oh yeah, you know me with my story walking simulators, life something, no button, do nothings. So yeah, this is up my alley. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Life is Strange True Color. So I don't even know. I don't even remember when the first game came out, but they've just been cranking these things out, I feel like, every year now. So just the latest in the Life is Strange, which, if you like story-driven walking simulators, we're probably simplifying it.
Yeah, so someone out there is right now just going, well, there's so much more to that with the emotional connection. Fine.
Yeah, that's the story-driven, and that's fine.
I don't care.
I mean, it as the article says, story-driven adventure that explores the power of empathy.
Oh! I care.
You care?
I care.
Are you a Life is Strange fanatic?
No, I actually haven't played a single one of them. No, but I will defend one thing about the whole walking simulator. If a game has to be like a narrative game, at least give you the option of have your gameplay change the narrative, which that stuff I like. Yeah. I like Until Dawn for that reason. Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Until Dawn is a narrative game, but your choices affect who survives, and I hate giving compliments to David Cage, but yeah, even Heavy Rain does the same thing, and Heavy Rain was as much of a cluster it's still entertaining as hell. Life is Strange is kind of the same thing. Obviously it's not like David Cage's mess. Apparently it's actually well written, for what I've heard. And I don't even know, is that a third game or a fourth game? I actually don't know.
That's it's the fourth game.
I think fourth. Yeah, good on them, and good. I know a lot of people love this series, and yeah, I would love to. I only heard good things about this one in particular, so maybe one day I'll play
it's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm sure it's decent.
Good.
Yeah.
Nothing I'll get to.
But speaking of one I want to get to,
right. Actually, hold on. I got a pee-pee.
All right. So speaking of games that I am really excited for to try is one you mentioned earlier, Blade, which is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
I won't sing it because then you'll get the MCA hate. Exactly.
Everyone I've talked to, it was a surprise hit for most people. And between the actual gameplay, the scripted interactions with the team, and everything else that's going on, it just hit the mark.
It's funny, isn't this by the same team that did Avengers? And everyone hated Avengers, and then they just knocked it out with this one.
Nah, nope. Different team.
Oh, well, never mind.
They did recently Deus Ex, I think it was Mankind Divided, and the third Tomb Raider, the Shadow of Tomb Raider, I believe that was the last thing they did.
Yeah, but yeah, Jim, obviously, you haven't played a good Marvel game in a while, right?
It's been a long ass time. Yeah, no, I want to play this. I just don't have anything to. Or actually, apparently, I do have something to play it on. I thought it was just a PlayStation game.
No, it's everything.
Guess not.
I know you'll get it for the worst system it could come out for.
Well, the most convenient system. But no, maybe I'll just throw it on the Xbox One. So
yeah.
That's a good Marvel game.
Yeah, that's on my PS4 list. So.
Oh, PS5.
I'm not getting a PS5. I'm saying I'm getting Spider-Man for PS4. Listen, if you want to send me yours, I'll take it. I won't say no.
Let your dear buddy Brian experience some games. He'll give it back.
Yeah. Listen, Jim, are you still mad about Marvel Legends?
Yes.
Yes. I will
Or
never forget
X-Men Legends.
X-Men Legends
Yeah.
2. Age of Apocalypse. God damn it.
Or like Age of Acropolis.
Son of a bitch.
Age of Brian letting Brian borrow it shortly after me beating it, and then him giving it to a friend, and then the friend selling it, and then me never seeing it again, and him going, What?
What?
What? You would never play it again anyway.
Wait.
What?
Hey, you wouldn't have.
Is that the second X-Men Legends?
Yeah.
That's a good game. Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
one.
Great game.
Yeah, it was a great game. I remember fond memories of it.
I
for the 2 weeks
bought
I
a
had
separate copy. It's back there for me. Jim, we should review it.
You should play co-op together. Oh, wait.
So yeah, it's pretty...
Guardians of the Galaxy. If we talk about the Avengers game that came out, that was Crystal Dynamics, and they're actually also very talented developers too, because they made the first two Tomb Raider games, Tomb Raider 2013 and Rise Off, which I think are fantastic games. So it's just that I wish that the game didn't become like a live service game. I think if it was just like a narrative focused, Avengers story, it would have turned out better. Right. And that's the reason why when Guardians was actually announced last year, like at E3, people were like, whatever, like who cares?
There was no motivation for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially the fact that like it was on the Square like conference and they spent like 15 minutes showing it, and people were like, getting a little bit tired of like the very long presentation, which I kind of get. Like the idea of like, those has to be kind of like snappy. Like I don't mind, if they have like a separate like, E3 showcase to show more of the game, that's fine. But yeah, the reviews started coming out, people are loving it, and I played the first couple of hours of it, and I'm surprised of how much I'm enjoying it so far. And they managed to do those characters justice. I mean, it does feel very similar writing to the James Gunn MCU duology of movies that we have so far,
which is what they needed to do.
Which is what they needed to do, like especially like with Drax, with like his very like
deliberate, not getting any nuance kind of stuff.
Exactly, yeah, with his
very literal
aloofness. Yeah, exactly. Like they managed to nail him, which I really enjoyed, and even having like character like Groot just saying "I am Groot" all the time is actually kind of endearing. But here's the thing I really enjoy about it that a lot of people don't like is the fact that you only play as Star-Lord, and like, why can I not play as Groot or like Drax and stuff like that? I would like to have one character that plays very well than having a lot of characters that are not focused, which that was kind of like the issue of the Avengers game, is that some characters are really fun to use and some were not. I mean, I did not like to play as the Hulk at all, and that sucks because it's the Hulk. You want to smash things, and it wasn't fun to smash. Compared to, like, Iron Man, where you can, like, fly everywhere you want, and you can have different, like, configuration for your laser attacks. So, I'm glad they just focused on Star-Lord, and basically you giving, like, instructions to the Guardians, to do specific activities, depending on, like, the enemies in the area. You could be like, oh, there's a lot of enemies. Groot, stop your enemies, those enemies with, like, your roots and stuff. So that way the enemies don't attack you, and you can, like, shoot them in the meantime. Also, the story, it kind of like does like the whole Walking Dead thing where you have to make like a dialogue choice within an allotted period of time, and depending on what you say, stuff in the game changes. Like from a narrative perspective, they hit it out of the park, and you know what? Good on them. I love good surprises. I mean, and let's be honest, when we play a game, we don't want the game to be bad. We want to be surprised and enjoy it. And this is like the epitome of that. This is like why we play games for, is to go with such low expectations, then like, oh crap, there's actually something in this.
What I want them to do is now take that formula and just do it for the rest of Marvel characters, and then I'll be happy. So I'm down. I'm completely down for it.
I'm honestly thinking there might be like a Marvel game universe, like MGU, you could say.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Spider-Man games are great.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Avengers game wasn't great, but technically they already kind of have, in Avengers, and I don't mind if they make, like, a cameo in, like, a different game or whatever, since they already have, like, a star-studded cast with, like, Nolan North and Troy Baker and all that stuff, so I'm fine with that. And maybe other franchises. I mean, like, there's a Wolverine game that Insomniac is making, and I'm like, if they done this well for Spider-Man, man, I cannot wait for Wolverine, because...
For sure. Yeah.
Snicked.
Yeah.
Just freaking snicked, man. I kind of want to play that X-Men Origins Wolverine game. That game was actually really good.
It was
I heard
very,
that was
very
good.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
Ton of fun. Very violent and just
like the
what you
movie.
want out of a Wolverine game.
Yeah. As you want it to be good. That's what I want out of my Wolverine game.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Which is not that common, sadly.
So number 9 actually doesn't shock me. It was really talked about a lot. I haven't gotten around to it, but this is on my wish list on Steam. Valheim, probably the most talked about survival game on, especially on PC and Steam. It was like definitely the most downloaded for many months. But
Yeah.
I heard
haven't
nothing but
played
good
it.
things, but yeah.
I will say that, how like Among Us was the game of 2020, I think Valheim was kind of that game for 2021, especially like the first few months of the year, where there wasn't really a lot of stuff that came out. It was kind of like the game that everyone was playing at the time. And maybe they're still playing it. I just don't really see a lot of people still talk about Valheim anymore, but...
And as we said, it's another one. Even though lots of people play it, it is still just PC exclusive.
Yeah.
So it's never always going to have as much traction as everything else. But that's a game it's on my wish list when one of the Steam sales goes on. I'll buy it. And yeah.
For a very small team, I think there were like 5 people or something.
It was
on
very
them.
small.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good
They
for them.
delivered.
They delivered, like, seriously, like, with no shred of irony. Congratulations to Iron Gate. Like, this is impressive.
Number 8, It Takes Two, which was
Won all the awards.
the big winner
He won
this
the
year
award, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for Mr. Fuck the Oscars. He finally did it.
I mean, did you play this one, Blade? Because honestly, Jim and I, we looked at it and we're like, is this another, like, should it win, or is it winning for a different reason? So, did you play it?
Here's the thing. Like, I know we kind of like bashing, indies earlier, go with, like, indie filler or indie crap or, like, all that kind of stuff. But I think the fact that it kind of won this year is kind of endearing because this is kind of like the kind of indie stuff that I enjoyed. Like, a very unique vision that can appeal to those who like the artsy stuff, but in addition, those who just like playing games because they like games can also enjoy. Because at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, it's a co-op game. It's a co-op-only game, and I guess that's, like, the main selling point of it. But if we're talking about, like, game genres, it's a platformer. And if you like platformers, you will love It Takes Two.
Yeah.
I wish I played it more. That's one of the games that I really, really want to play. I've heard a lot about the story, that it's actually, like, surprisingly very deep, especially if you're a parent.
It's about, like, a couple splitting and how they're going to be able to take care of their kid.
Of their daughter,
And, yeah, and you're like, okay, yeah, so there is a deepness to it.
Yeah, and as far as I know, this is, like, the premise. Like, the idea is that the girl feels very bad, and the couple become, like, those 2 dolls, and they basically have to reverse the spell, and, like, throughout the adventure, they kind of learn how to, cooperate
again.
with each other, which, honestly, in the form of a video game, it actually makes a lot of sense, to do this. Like, it actually is organically woven into the gameplay because, yes, you have to learn how to coordinate, to finish the game. Just like how A Way Out did it a few years back, which is another game I really want to play, too.
All right, Jim and I will play it, and Jim's the girl.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind actually seeing you two also tackle that and A Way Out. I think you might enjoy those two.
Yeah,
That
we
game,
can do
too.
it.
Yeah, we'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Jim, you're allowed to stream now.
Yeah,
Yay.
but...
But let's move on to what we care about, the boobs. And by the boobs, you know what game I'm talking about.
Give me
Don't
just one
forget
moment.
the cake.
Oh!
Number 7, Resident
Oh,
Evil
Jesus Christ.
Village. I mean, I
That's my
love
weakness.
It's violent.
Weakness.
Blade's in there going, "Rah!"
It's like...
the game. Jim, you still need to play this goddamn game. by the
I
way.
do still need to play this.
You know what?
yes.
Put that on your list. That's got to be on your list.
You a horror guy. I'm surprised you didn't play it.
I
Brian's
played
mainly
the
the
shit.
horror guy. I
beat it.
like horror games,
Yeah.
but Brian's the one who jerks off over all of them.
Like Jim to his
Yeah, you can
hentai.
share sperm. I mean, come on.
No, I do not. How dare you, sir?
I
That's
enjoyed
why
the
they
shit
call
out
it-
of this game. It was the biggest game for a month or two. Well, and it still, I think, is the biggest hype for a video game character for, you call it the wrong reasons or whatever reasons, but I can't remember another character that garnered so many memes and just attention so quickly. But it really is a fun game. I like the direction they took it, and these first-person Resident Evil games are proving to be like consistently good. So I hope they stick with that formula and keep going with it, because I really enjoyed it. It can be very short. Like, speedrunners were beating it in like 2 hours or less.
Yeah.
But if you take your time, there's a lot there. So
On easy mode. I mean,
yeah.
Can I drop like drink a beer, play a game fact right now?
Go on.
Last year, that was the reveal of Lady Dimitrescu, and we were talking about it on the podcast.
Yes, we
last
were.
year, actually, and
Yes,
we were
we
reacting
were.
for the
Shit,
first
that's
time
right.
on like, damn, I want to play Resident Evil Village now.
Yep.
It's all come full circle.
I mean,
So
yeah,
it's
it's
on
like,
come.
it's like, hey, why do you want to play this game? I don't know. I have 2 reasons.
So what'd you think of it, though?
Okay, but now let's talk about it proper. I heard a lot of people complain about Village in particular because it's less of a horror game and more of an action game, like trying to incorporate more like RE4 into it. So that's the reason people were like disappointed. Here's the thing: RE4 is one of my favorite games of all time. I love RE4 and I love Resident Evil Village for those exact reasons. I mean, yeah, maybe the first-person perspective isn't like the best sometimes for the control scheme of Resident Evil, but it worked for me. I thought the combat was really fun. I love upgrading my weapons. I love the idea that, each, area of the game is very unique. Like, Lady Dimitrescu, tall vampire lady, I should say. She has, the traditional mansion,
Dummy
that's
mommy.
comic, dummy mommy, whatever you want to call her at this point. We can be here, through 5 durations of this podcast, coming up with names for her at this point. You have the mansion design for her, and there's, other, zombie fetuses that chase you. This game is just a really fascinating trip. I'm actually surprised of how many Game of the Year awards it won from different websites. I mean, is it a good game? Yes. Is it Game of the Year? I wouldn't go that far, but I enjoyed it. I am probably one of the few people who actually like it more than 7, personally, because I'm not a horror guy. I know I've been saying it a lot. I like action games, so
Yeah.
there you go.
I mean, I highly recommend it for anyone, and horror or not, it is just a fun game. I think it has plenty of the horror aspects to it, but yeah, no, I think it definitely deserves to be on the list, and even me, I don't necessarily think it needs Game of the Year, but it should be in this list. Now this next one, I don't know what the fuck. I know about this game, but as high as it is, or low as it is on this list, Chicory, A Colorful Tale, it's like, I would call it a interactive coloring book.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like a Zelda adventure-ish game, because the only way I heard about this was from Pam's wrap-up video.
I saw
of
that
21
too,
games.
yeah.
So that's the only time I ever heard anything about this game.
a lot of people seem to love it. Yeah, I don't know much about it myself, honestly.
I just see there's the same reoccurring theme. It's like this and Splatoon. It's like, how many games can you have where you just have to color things?
Yeah, but they're wildly different games, though.
Yeah,
and,
with
and still
Splatoon-
and Akami too, going back in the day and shit like that.
Yeah, or Mario Sunshine in a way too, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, I know you're clean paint in Sunshine, but paint has some motif in that game, so to say.
I just have to imagine it's much more about, you care about the story, the soundtrack, things like that. It can't possibly be the gameplay, because at the end of the day...
Apparently it's got a pretty good adventure
Yeah,
gameplay.
so I've heard, yeah. Oh, who knows? Maybe. I just haven't played it. So
Brian
again, I
just
can-
hates cute shit. That's all he hates.
It
It turns you off immediately.
Well,
when
let
you
it
see
kind of
cute
explain
shit.
why he doesn't
Sure.
like you.
That's true. It all makes sense now.
It all makes sense. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's okay. It's a game.
So before we move on to the next one, can I do like a musical prelude as you introduced it?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, go ahead.
Yes,
Jim,
we are doing
pull out your
number-
drums.
No, Bride's too fucking late. Number 5, Halo Infinite. 343 finally did it. They finally made a good Halo game.
Yep.
Finally,
am like-
people seem to like. I have to get around to this one. I'll just throw it on my Xbox One. Like, I want to save it
this
for
is
an
on my
S,
list.
but, yeah.
Yep. This and all the other Halos this year will be part of my 50 list, just so I can lead up to playing and beating this.
Infinite, yeah.
Yeah.
Heard nothing but amazing things.
Good thing on 343. Talk about
Redemption arc.
Yeah, because in like the whole departure from the studios from any of the main producers, and the game was supposed to come out during the launch of the Series X, but then people really hated on the
Passionate
graphics.
graphics. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I do miss Craig. I mean, I do love Craig the Brute and his beautiful face. You can have it in like post. You can put a picture of like Craig on my face or something.
That
like
goofy ass
There you go.
brute. Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Craig. But a year later, wow, the multiplayer is so fun. The campaign is actually great, which is funny because we just talked about Far Cry, but they took a lot of cues from Far Cry. Like you have a big map and different like waypoints where you could do like missions and stuff like that. And some people are complaining about it, but I don't care. I'm having fun. If they give you the right tools, like the controls and the weapons, I don't care what's like the framework of the missions. If the gameplay is fun, and that's the thing about Halo Infinite, it's fun.
It's fun, yeah.
I have a hook shot that automatically adds 2 points to the score right there.
My whole thing is, should it even be lower on the list? Meaning closer to 1. I mean,
Oh, you mean like a higher place? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
just
good
because of, like
question.
we were saying, because of the turnaround, because of everything. I don't know. Like you said, maybe it's fine where it's at. I look at some of the games below it, and I go, should it be higher? I don't know. But I haven't played
next
them,
up,
so I
Hitman
can't
3.
say.
Like,
Yeah.
for example, next up is Hitman 3, and I really barely heard anything about it.
I love
a
the
surprise,
shit out of
yeah.
Hitman 3. I love the shit out of Hitman series. I can't imagine Hitman 3 it was so revolutionary compared to 2 and 1 that it deserves to be this high. And this is coming from a Hitman fanboy, so I'm kind of shocked it's this high. Maybe they did something with the mechanics that made it like holy hell, but
I think it's more of like a victory run for the trilogy than acknowledging 3 by itself. Maybe
By
3
itself.
has like the best levels. I don't know, but
You got the Return of the King treatment.
yeah, kind of basically
Yeah.
the Oscar sweep or whatever exactly. And if anything, it's funny because I wanted to play Hitman 1 and 2 back in the day, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna pop my Hitman cherry and finally play Hitman 3 and see what the hubbub is about. And I play. Brian, did you play the 2016 Hitman game?
yep.
Okay, so I played the
Played
first 2
that in
levels.
2, yeah.
Yeah, I played the Paris level and like Espinosa, I think that like beach area.
Yep.
And like I like it, but a lot of the stuff that I have to do, like a lot of the goals are very, very oblique. It's like you have to stand in this specific area and use a sniper rifle at this specific time to
It's
shoot
very
your target.
limiting.
And
Yeah.
happens to be at the observatory to get your elimination credits. Like, how are you supposed to know that without looking through a guide? And that
No,
kind of takes
it's
me out of
tough.
it, because I don't want to look through a guide. I want to create those, like, cool assassination without, feeling that I have to, like, follow a rigid schedule. And that kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, it felt a little less organic than something like MGS5, which is probably my favorite stealth game of all time at this point, but this is not to say Hitman is bad or Hitman 3 or any of them. It's more I haven't got
That's
used
not
to
the
the
style
mechanics
that you're into.
yet.
Yeah, and I said the newer games, to their detriment for me, is that they are so slow, and as you're saying, like, they're so specific, where the older games were a little bit more open-ended.
Yeah.
I haven't played this one, but I will for sure because I love the series. Like I said, I'm just shocked it's a little higher. Now, one that,
Yeah.
I'm not shocked the next one because, once again, it seemed to receive a lot of love, but I know you just finished the first one, which Psychonauts 2. At number 3. I'm not shocked.
Wait, you didn't play this game? Are you a psycho? Are you nuts? Can we appreciate the fact we got a sequel to a 2005 Xbox or PS2 game?
And that it's actually good. Like,
Yeah.
how most, super long, sequels of anything always turn out to kind of suck, but this one pulled it off, apparently.
So you said you beat the first one. Did you
Yes.
start playing the second one yet?
I played a little bit of the first level, and it definitely feels better.
Yeah, you were saying the gameplay feels a little
Oh,
better.
yeah. One of the things that I didn't mention at the beginning is, you get a bunch of, psychic powers, but the problem, where you have to, toggle between them because you only have, 3 slots, and you have to assign, 8 different powers to 3 slots.
Yeah.
And, you just have to go through the menu, stop, and then take the power to the button you need, and it gets a little bit, slow sometimes, so they basically made it much faster that now you have, more of a normal, modern menu, kind of like in Ratchet and Clank, to change your weapons and stuff the same way with, Raz's psycho powers. So it feels better, and that's what I said earlier. The one thing that was kind of iffy, quote-unquote, it's not even that bad, about the original game was the gameplay. So now the gameplay caught up, and now, I cannot wait to just delve more into this, crazy creation by Tim Schafer, really. So.
Yeah. Jim, is that a series you think you're going to get into?
I've always
Answer
wanted to play
wisely,
it.
Jim.
I've always wanted to play it, so...
Thank you.
Yeah, I do want to, and I hear nothing but good things about 2, so it seems like a thing I should play. But I gotta say, though, if the gameplay in 1 isn't as engaging as, you're saying it is, it might turn me off, and I might never touch 2 after it, because I'm kind of a guy where if I don't like the first one, I'm not going to touch the other ones.
But here's my point to that. When I'm saying something like that, I'm saying, sound is a 10, graphics is a 10, story is a 10, and the gameplay is 8 or 9, maybe.
Oh, if it's that? Oh, okay. Well, if
that's what I'm saying. It's just compared to the other stuff that's so freaking good, the gameplay's it's good. It's even great at points, actually.
Yeah.
I love
because everything else is so
platformers.
good about it.
Well, I also played a worse version of that game, too, so I think if I played a better version, I would have enjoyed my time a lot more, too, so...
True. Fair.
Yeah, just play it on the Xbox or Steam. Don't play the PS2 version. That's my advice.
Well, you also just mentioned a game which is now number 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Oh.
Which, it's another game that I always expect when they come out, they're going to make these lists. People absolutely love them. But I'll be honest, it's another series I've never gotten into. And everyone I know who has played them, I've never heard someone say something bad about it. Let me put it that way. So, I don't know. Jim, did you ever actually play them?
Never really played the Ratchet and Clank games, so it's another series that passed me by. I will say about this game, when this came out, this is the game that, everyone was basically saying, okay, we finally have a reason to really own a PS5. This was, the first game that people were saying that about, as, a game to be, a system seller. So,
yeah.
I've heard nothing but, universal praise for it.
Or a Paramount praise.
Wait, all right, where the hell does it say it in this goddamn article? That word's here somewhere.
You should add a Ratchet and Clank game to your list just to try one of them out. Preferably either the first or the second game. That's, I think, the best, starting point I would recommend. Yeah. Rift Apart, in my opinion, when I was playing all those, more, modern Ratchet games, past the PS2 era, I felt like some of, the charm and, the comedy was a little bit lost in translation. Because they were going for more, this, Pixar storytelling, of, making Ratchet, a chosen one. He's the last of his race, and now he's, super important. And I thought that took a little bit away of, the comedy and the satire that the first few games did.
Or, the movie tie-in game and all that, too.
Which, I mean, you know what's funny? We're talking about Psychonauts, about like, the gameplay was like, like the lesser part of that game. The game based on the remake is probably the opposite. I think like the gameplay saves it because everything else is just kind of blasé. Like, it looks really nice. The graphics are really good, and also is the acting, but like the story is just a huge mess. But it's not really Insomniac's fault. There's a lot of history through that, and I'm not going to delve into it in this podcast, but Rift Apart kind of like fixes a lot of the things that I didn't like about those games, and also kind of creates a new chapter in Ratchet and Clank, and really uses that SSD to its limits.
Okay.
It just like the portals that you go through, and like it immediately loads a level, like without like having to wait at all. It's the reason to own a PS5. Like, and even if you don't like platformers, you would like it because it's also like a bit of a shooter. Because you have guns you can use and stuff like that. Yeah. And when you finish the game, you can play through the Game Plus mode where you get like extra experience to further upgrade your guns. It's just there's this rhythm of this game of like learning your weapon, getting new weapons, improving those weapons, and you also get a really nice, touching story to boot on top of that. It's the first time in a Ratchet game where they were going with a more serious tone that I actually cared about that serious tone. What I thought it was effective. And the comedy was actually also well done. Especially when they brought in, like, the new character Rivet, which is like female Ratchet, but she's also voiced by, what's her name from Mass Effect, female Shepard, Jennifer Hale. So that's a huge plus, so... Yeah, absolutely. One of the best games of the year.
Those are games, like I said, that I can easily at least do the first or second one, and it'll be something I definitely try out.
Yeah, on like PlayStation 2, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This next one, technically, it was going to be on my list, but once again, even though I have a PC that could do it, I'd rather play on a console. We got Deathloop coming in at number 1.
Yeah.
I've once again heard great things about it, but I know very little about the game other than it's a time-looping murder mystery. Like, that's the easiest way I'll put it. So, Did you have any experience with it?
Yeah, Jim, did you have any experience with it?
I didn't.
Jim hasn't.
Obviously, I've played it, 5 times already, so...
Yeah, I know, just yanking thy chain.
I don't think I played anything on this list. I didn't touch a single fucking game. And I barely knew about any of them.
Well, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. So you're playing as this main guy. His name is Colt, and apparently a lot of people who play this game thought this game was a cult hit.
I'm not giving you that one.
Good night, everyone! I actually also started playing a little bit of Deathloop, and so far I'm trying to love it. It's like I'm not hitting it there just yet.
Are you underwhelmed?
No, I'm not underwhelmed because I enjoy a lot of it. Like Colt, the main character, like he makes this game, really fun. Like his dialogue, just like oh shit, what the fuck? How the hell am I doing this crap again? No, I don't want to go through this shit again. Like it's genuinely really funny. So, like, and his quips actually make it really fun to like play through some of those scenarios over and over again. It's just that I'm trying to get used to the stealth mechanics because sometimes I don't know, like, there's an enemy right to the side and I just die immediately and I have to repeat the process over and over again, which, yeah, it's the point. But, like, with every game, especially when it's, like, a first game in, like, a franchise, which, considering how well it's doing, it's probably going to be a franchise eventually. There's a lot of, there's training wheels. You have to learn how to ride before you take those training wheels off and then understand how the mechanics work. But, yeah, it looks like it's justified. A lot of people love Deathloop, so...
Yeah, I can't say it's definitely one I'll play, but it'll be one when it becomes available for free or dirt cheap. I'll give it a try. It looks like it could be something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, it's one that, like, I know it got a lot of awards and stuff but, like, I never heard anyone who, like, loved it. Like, kind of along the way, everyone's like, yeah, it's pretty good, but, like, it got nominated for a ton of shit, but, like, no one seemed to really be, like, head over heels for it.
Yeah, you got a lot of 10s when it first came out, which really surprised me because it didn't really, like, scream like a 10 out of 10 game to me. But I guess maybe I'm missing something, and maybe I need to play it more to really enjoyed, because I really like Dishonored, which is by the same people who made Dishonored.
Right.
And they also made Prey, like 2017 Prey, which is also a good game.
It's all gonna be solid.
Yeah, Arcana are really great developers too. So it's just a matter of me adjusting myself, which I think I'll be able to do. Yeah, so I'll take their award and say it's justified for now. So yeah,
I'll say compared to the list we saw last year, this seems more reasonable.
Yeah.
It's not just complete artsy-fartsy.
It's not
indies.
art house little. Yeah.
There seems to be some real contenders and some, the placements. We've always said they're debatable. Still don't like where I don't like where Forza was.
Or Metroid Dread for me.
But yeah, otherwise I think it's been pretty solid. And like I said, some of these games we'll add to our list to play. Mm-hmm. But Blade, we do want to say thank you so much for hopping on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, we have all of his links below, so be sure, check them out. Can't wait for when you get your top 10 games of last year up.
Yeah.
Make sure you let us know. We'll love to promote that and watch it with everybody.
Keep an eye out for that in July.
Last year was in March, and this is kind of what I'm aiming for this year as well, too. So don't give me July.
But with
you
that...
stinker.
We want to say
in all seriousness, thank you guys for having me again. It's always a blast to do this, and honestly, it's one of my favorite moments of the year is to be a guest here, and I would love to even come even more often. Maybe we can talk about E3 or something. I don't know.
But we're going to get you drinking. I don't want to hear this water bullshit.
Yeah. We're going to have there's going to be a presentation of, Donkey Kong 64 remake on the Switch, and I'm like, let's pass the beer, guys. Exactly.
Now, thank you for coming on, and for everyone watching, thank you if you've stayed watching. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, please make sure you hit subscribe. Leave us a rating, preferably 5 stars, and we always discuss any ratings we get. So with that, we want to say thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night, and cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
And fade out.